All right, guys. What's up, listeners? Welcome back to Predator vs. Movies. I'm Alex.
I'm Peter.
I'm Aidan.
And this is a podcast where we discuss and review the latest movie releases. We're going to start off with a non-spoiler review before diving into a deeper discussion of the movie. Then we're going to ask the most important question: would this movie be better if the alien from Predator was in it? This week, we're going to be reviewing Black Panther: Wakanda Forever with our special guest, Adrian.
What's up? That's it.
What's up? I don't know.
What is up indeed?
So first we're going to start off with our classic news segment. First off, we got some personal news, some very personal podcast news. So a couple of things. First off, big important change. We've removed the period from our title. We are no longer Predator versus dot movies. We are Predator versus movies, no dot. Big change.
Finally.
Second big change. The reason why I took out the period was because I was designing a new logo and I hated how it looked with the punctuation in it. So we have a new logo. We look different and I'm very happy about it.
We're blue now. Say what?
And now you can see me.
Yeah. Aidan's
on
in
the
logo now.
What?
Yeah. What do you mean what? You've
That's
seen it. Anyways, and we're blue. We're blue now. Which is, I mean, it's a great year for people being blue. Actually, no, the three of us are purple on. Anyways, doesn't matter. So we have a new logo. The biggest news for us, though, is we got featured in a BuzzFeed News article. Guys,
let's go.
We made it.
Now, not the podcast itself, but the podcast's Twitter account run by me. Basically, there's a video circulating Twitter of Mia Goth in an interview with a regular voice, and she sounds like a small Victorian child. And I quote tweeted it saying, never in a million years would I guess that this is what she sounds like. And apparently that was a popular response because it was the tagline of the BuzzFeed article, and it's actually in the article as my quote tweet. I didn't know about it until someone separate created a tweet that said, I can't believe BuzzFeed created an entire news article from a quote tweet with one like. And they tagged me. And that's how I found out. And as I said to them, quote tweets with one like are our specialty. But now we're famous. So, guys, we're famous.
Yeah.
Moving on to the Marvel corner. We've got some Marvel news. Marvel news don't stop. So first off, I've heard that Owen Wilson will return as Mobius, not Morbius, in Deadpool 3. Sounds like they are really going to lean into the multiverse nature of things now. And maybe Deadpool will be actively crossing over from the Fox universe into the larger MCU and might come into conflict with the TVA. So that's interesting.
Yep. All those things might happen.
Yep. I also heard that maybe the rest of the Fox universe will come into play, like the Fantastic Four. I think it could be really interesting if he was like killing the Fox universe, because he's done that in the past, like in the comics. But I don't know if they'll go into that. It definitely seems like he'll probably try to save Wolverine from his TVA demise. So yeah, that's interesting, I guess. I don't love it, but I don't hate it. It's kind of whatever.
Yeah, I've kind of lost my Deadpool enthusiasm that I had in like 2015 or whatever.
I 100% feel you. Yeah. I was like really big on Deadpool in middle school, but like I think that's kind of the target audience. Mm-hmm. It's very much like a middle school kind of high school demographic and like level of humor. So as I've gotten older, I definitely see the flaws. And yeah. Other Marvel news: Daniel Kaluuya will be voicing Spider-Punk in Spider-Verse in Across the Spider-Verse or whatever it's called.
Yeah. Spider-Man cool. Into the Spider-Verse.
No, Spider Guys across. No, okay, across the universe.
Wait, actually,
Spider-Verse.
Spider Guys in different places at the same time.
It is Spider-Man.
The first movie is called Into the Spider-Verse. Okay. The second one is called Across the Spider-Verse.
But it is Spider-Man, Across the Spider-Verse.
Yes.
It's not because I thought it was Spider-Verse Across the Spider-Verse, which is a terrible name and why I should not be in charge of naming things.
Dude, this cast is looking stacked right now.
Yeah, I was just pulling that up.
Really cool.
So we've got Daniel Kaluuya. Issa Rae is joining as Jessica Drew, aka Spider-Woman. Who else is new? Jason Schwartzman is the Spot. I'm just on Wikipedia right now. I thought, Oscar Isaac is Spider-Man 2099.
Well, he's been there since the first one.
Yeah. But like he'll like really be joining for this time. That's the biggest casting news for that. So that's fun, and I like that movie, and that's coming out probably next summer. It looks
That's
like.
cool
So.
and sick.
Wait, isn't it this winter?
It is cool and sick. No, it's not. It got moved. If it was this winter, you would have known, and you would have seen trailers.
What?
Yeah. Things move, buddy. Last bit of Marvel news is Coven of Chaos. Am I saying it right this time?
It is
Was that the
Coven.
correct
Not Caven.
pronunciation?
Definitely not Caven.
It's not a
I didn't
Coven.
say Caven. It's not a Caven. It's anyways. Some more casting news for that. Eric Andre and Sashir Zamata have joined the cast. Also, I forgot to write this down, but I heard from like a Marvel insider that I follow on Twitter called The Watcher that the tone is going to be very campy and akin to American Horror Story : Coven, funny enough, and The Chilling Adventures of Sabrina or whatever that Netflix show is. So if you like those shows, apparently that's what it's like. I was going to say, like, it does seem to be gathering a lot of comedic talent. So I think,
and very good comedic talent. We already mentioned where Plaza stands on this
Plaza stands
podcast.
Here, This is a Plaza Stan household. Yep. And I mean, the lead is Catherine Hahn. Like, it's just a lot of funny people. So that could be interesting. We'll see. Moving away from the Marvel corner into a galaxy far, far away, we've got our Star Wars news. I think Disney Plus series The Acolyte has started filming, and we have a full cast, and I'm going to tell you what the cast is. So I don't know if either of you guys know who the cast is, but this is the order it's been given in, so I'm assuming this is like lead into supporting. So Amandla Stenberg of Bodies, Lee Jung-jae of Squid Game. He was the lead in Squid Game. Manny Jacinto of The Good Place. He was, what's his name? Does anyone know The Good Place?
I did not watch The Good Place, no. He was that guy, though.
Google, quick. Oh, Jason Mendoza. So he's in it. Daphne Keane, who was the little Wolverine in Logan, the girl Wolverine, is in this. Jodie Turner-Smith, latest thing was After Yang. She's in this. Dean Charles Chapman, the other guy in 1917. Carrie Ann Moss of The Matrix. What else did I see her in? I saw her in something else. Oh, she's also in Memento, and she's
in Jessica Jones.
Yeah, that's probably what I was thinking of. Yeah. Anyway, so that's a pretty stacked cast. So I think that's
hopefully we're getting more of an Andor and not so much of an Obi-Wan.
It's set during like the High Republic, I believe, or like before the prequels quite a bit, and it's supposed to be like kind of like Origins of the Sith, I think. Like it seems like the Acolyte is like the follower of the Sith Lord or whatever, right? So that's kind of the vibe, and seeing as it's not like a huge property like Obi-Wan, there's this kind of thing that happens is if the parent company, like if Star Wars Lucasfilm has their hands in it like too much, they're too hands-on, it can become like corporate and bad, like Obi-Wan or Boba Fett, because those are big IP.
Do too much fan service and shit.
Yeah, and they're big IP characters, so they get actively involved, and that ruins the creative process. Will you stop using the chat? You're so distracting. Sorry, I'm breaking the realism of the podcast. And shows where it's a new thing tend to do better. So Andor, The Mandalorian, right? These things aren't as central or like well known, so a little more creative freedom. So I have hopes for it, and fuck you guys for using the chat. Last bit of Star Wars news: Sean Levy or Levy of Free
Wonder.
Guy, that Free Guy director,
Oh yeah.
who is also directing
That guy's
Deadpool
free.
3.
Yeah.
Didn't he do
is
Stranger Things also?
Yes, he did. You're right.
What? Really?
Yes, he
Wow.
did some of the Stranger Things
Oh, okay. So.
episodes, not all of them, because some of them are directed by the writers. Anyway, so
Stuff.
he's apparently directing a Star Wars movie. Meanwhile, we're losing the Star Wars movie of J.D. Dillard, whose most recent movie is Devotion, the other movie where Glenn Powell is flying planes from this year.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a World War II movie. Him and Jonathan Majors. I kind of want to check it out because those two guys are like, whoa. Yeah.
Dude, those two guys are like, whoa.
The way he said that.
Yeah. Anyways, so just the direction Star Wars is going in is always kind of disappointing, and really, like, we're doing Taika Waititi and Sean Levy, like, that's.
Although some of Taika's ideas sound cool, I know that he wants to stray from like the Skywalker saga, and he wants to explore like the different corners of the galaxy and stuff.
Okay, I just had like a crazy idea. Okay, you know Game of Thrones.
Yeah.
Who knows Game of Thrones? Have you heard of this little show called Game of Thrones? Remember in the later seasons when it got really bad, but there was a reason it got really bad, and the reason it got the reason it got really bad is the writers didn't want to keep doing it anymore.
Wait, actually?
Because the writers wanted to move on to Star Wars.
Oh, right, I heard this.
Could it be that Taika fucked up Thor on purpose so that he could get to his Star Wars movie? Is Star Wars like that appealing for everybody?
D&D, they lost the Star Wars show. Like, they lost the Star Wars project,
because of how poorly Game of Thrones went.
Now, they are doing something new. They're doing 3 Body Problem for Netflix. It's actually
yes, I did hear about that, but yeah, so I don't love the direction Star Wars is going in with Sean Levy as their kind of guy, but
dude, it's gonna be a Star Wars VR type of movie, you know? It's like you're in this cantina.
Know what does that even mean.
Yeah, because Free Guy is basically like VR, right?
Sure, I think that was unique to that game.
I kind of didn't pay any attention to Free Guy, to be honest.
Free Guy was great. I loved Free Guy.
It was the greatest movie of all time, hands down.
If you say so.
The awkward silence after I said that, they're like, man, shut the fuck up, you asshole. Like, what the fuck?
More Lucasfilm news. Indiana Jones the series is in development for Disney Plus. It's going to be following Abner Ravenwood, the mentor of Indiana Jones, and I think the father of the first love interest from
Marion,
the first movie. Yeah, Marion. Thank you, Marion Ravenwood.
When I saw that, I was like, I wonder if they're going to show like Marion, because I don't know if you guys are privy to this, but this is canonical to Indiana Jones, that you know how Indy has a relationship with Marion that is hinted at of the past, right? Yeah. Like in the first movie. Okay, you know how she says, "I was a child." That's not an exaggeration. Canonically, she was like 14 when he was like in his 20s.
Oh no!
Like that is like part of the Indiana Jones canon.
Okay, I'm gonna go out on a limb.
I wonder if they're exploring that.
I'm going out on a limb, Aidan, and I'm gonna guess the answer to your question is no.
Okay.
I don't think Lucasfilm and Disney are gonna explore a pedophilic relationship.
Yeah.
That's fucking gross.
Yeah. I was gonna say before that interesting interlude.
What the fuck podcast am I on right now? I don't even want to be on this podcast anymore. This conversation got weird. I'm scared as fuck.
Mommy, come pick me up. No, I don't. This is whatever to me. Like an Abner Ravenwood, like sure, okay. If it's like an Andor, this is kind of our thing now. Like if it's an Andor thing, hey, anything could be an Andor thing, and if it's not an Andor thing, I don't want it. That's kind of where I'm at now. I have my doubts. Let's just say that. In DC news, I actually don't have any Warner Brothers stepping on Rakes news this week.
Nice.
I don't think they did anything
They
crazy.
were quiet this week.
Yeah. The only news for DC I have is that Joseph Kosinski, of the director of Top Gun, Maverick, is being looked at for maybe directing the Man of Steel sequel.
Oh yeah.
Honestly, that's pretty lit. The man knows how to do an action scene, you know?
Yeah. And like his use of like practical things I really like.
Yo, Henry Cavill's gonna fly, bro. That's crazy.
Yeah. I was gonna say I don't know how he's gonna bring that into the superhero genre, but he might do like some innovative things because the stuff he did for Top Gun Maverick was unheard of. So
he also proved that he's great at making you love America at the end of the film, and you gotta infuse that into Superman.
Yeah, and I think unlike Zack Snyder, his outlook is much more optimistic, which fits the Superman vibe. So I think that's a step in the right direction. Personally, if you are a Zack Snyder fan, sorry, not sorry. In other connected universe news, this is really weak, but Netflix, after the success of what is it called, fucking Dahmer, the Dahmer series, they are making 2 new installments of their quote-unquote monster anthology franchise. Why
must we?
Must we? Like, I get people's obsession with true crime, but like that show is just so disrespectful, and like, why would you make a show from the perspective of the killer? Like, it makes no sense. I'm not a big fan of that.
I'm not a big fan either.
But Netflix is gonna Netflix. Am I right?
Hey,
if Netflix is gonna do anything, they're gonna Netflix. Last bit of news segment. We're going into the trailer park.
Oh,
that's the new name.
That should be its own segment.
Yeah, this is the trailer park.
That was bad, and you know it.
we got some, and I'm gonna string that along forever. We got some trailers this week. So first off, John Wick Part 4 or whatever it's called has a trailer. I'm not a big fan of the John Wick franchise. I watched, I think the second and the third one when I was sick, and maybe that affected my my experience, but I didn't care for them very much.
I like them all quite a bit. I think they're very fun action movies.
Dude, all I'm saying is I think it dropped out hard for third one though.
I think you're wrong.
I think the first one was like a great starting point. Second one was like a huge jump. You explore new locations and like really exciting action scenes. Third one really fell off for me, but this one from the trailer alone looks exciting, man. It looks like a really great movie.
Yeah. That's what I
have a confession to make.
Make your confession.
And it's going to be on this podcast.
This is a safe place.
Yeah, this is my fucking sin. I've never seen any of the John Wick movies.
Right.
I don't know. I feel
Time to start.
I don't know. Like, don't you ever like some people like some like film nerds or whatever, like you guys. They haven't seen like that one movie that's considered a classic. But they're it's like too late now that you don't even want to fucking watch it. So I'm just kind of at that moment in my life.
Titanic for me.
Titanic is the greatest movie. I love Titanic.
You hypocrite.
No,
giving me a face.
I know for a fact that 2 people could have fit on that little door that Rose was hanging off.
Okay, but back to the John Wick trailer.
No.
So even who didn't particularly care for the last 2, I think this looks good. I agree with Peter. I think it looks interesting. And is it Donnie Yen? I think is in there. Yeah. Donnie Yen. Yeah. Oh yeah.
That's good.
I don't know why Bill Skarsgård is in this.
It's like Jim Carrey.
Oh, it's Jim Carrey.
You're doing a Jim Carrey and you don't even know it.
That was kind of just spontaneous. It was a new character. I don't know. Anyways,
new character unlocked.
Oh, there you go. We got another trailer this week for The Whale. It's about time because isn't it coming out like next month? 2024's
for the amount of buzz it got the marketing is not on par like at all.
Yeah.
Well, I
have
wonder
no
if it felt like they didn't need to, because it like had enough talk around it, and like
Maybe, yeah.
they felt like they didn't want to give more away. I think the trailer looks really great. Like, I know we didn't see much, but like it looks like good stuff to me. You know, I'm gonna walk out of the theater happy.
Looks like cinema?
Yeah, but I would say it looks like cinema, in the
Wow,
words of
there you go.
Scorsese.
There you go. Looks like cinema. You heard it here first. And last trailer is Guillermo del Toro's Pinocchio. And
Guys, I'm gonna make a wild prediction here. This is gonna be better than the Disney's Pinocchio.
I would go as far as to say that this is an even wilder prediction. This will be the best Pinocchio movie of the year, maybe even ever.
Wait, only one came out this year, though, right?
You are
No, there's
mistaken.
the Russian one.
There's the Russian
what?
one.
There was
Yes.
the Russian one, and then there was. You guys didn't see the thing where it was like, "Father, I have to go and be on my own." You didn't see it?
It is like 3D animated, like the Barbie animation style.
Wait! That's the Russian version.
It's Russian that is dubbed in English, and that's why it sounds so weird.
Yeah, I feel bad for the Russians now. That did not look good.
You don't need to feel bad for the Russians. That's just like generally.
Oh yeah, I guess so. Yeah. Never mind. Never mind. Cut that out.
Cut that. Anyways, yeah, no, I don't know. I don't know what I was thinking about this particular movie going into it, but seeing the trailer, I was blown away. I was like,
it's like cool stuff.
It really sold me. So.
Dude, the cast alone should sell you the thing.
Peter's a big cast guy.
The animation style was more what's going on for me.
For me,
that looks sick.
I'm not a big cast guy. Peter's a big cast guy, so that's your thing. But I think
you have to look no further than Amsterdam to dissuade you from being a cast guy. To be honest,
exactly. Peter never
fuck! I was like, which movie is that
again? Anyways, I think that's it for our news, guys. We watched a movie this week.
That's crazy.
Kind of what we do for this podcast.
It's Predator versus movies.
Yeah, and this week we watched Black Panther: Wakanda Forever, the long-awaited sequel. So I got some general information for you guys about this movie. So it was directed and written by Ryan Coogler, also written by Joe Robert Cole, who also worked on the first one as a writer. It's starring Letitia Wright, Lupita Nyong'o, Denai Guerrero, Winston Duke, Dominique Thorne, Michaela Cole, Tenoch Huerta, Martin Freeman, Julia Louis-Dreyfus, Angela Bassett, and Florence Kazumba.
Angela Bassett,
thank you.
Wait, who does she play again?
Queen Ramonda.
Oh, right. That's why it sounds so familiar.
Yeah. The DP cinematographer is Autumn Arkapow. Music by Ludwig Göransson. The runtime is a whopping 2 hours and 41 minutes. That's including the credits. And the budget was $250 million.
Same as Black Adam.
I did not know that. That's interesting.
That's crazy.
And that is crazy, given how different those two movies are.
Thank you, Peter. Thank you for that.
And also, it's worth noting that is $50 million more than Black Panther's budget of $200 million. That was the 2018. Sorry, the first movie.
Okay, actually, sorry, I just double checked. Black Adam's budget is predicted around 200 million, not 250.
Okay, that checks out, because I mean the vast jump in quality. That 50 million does a lot, it seems. Between this one and the last one, like, I don't know about you guys.
We'll get into it. I felt, but I think I agree.
Yeah. But you're right. We have something we have to do first. We have to guess the Metacritic score. So for those who do not know, Adrian, you had better be fucking listening right now.
Wait, what am I listening to?
We've got a little game we play called Guess the Metacritic Score. There's a little website on the internet, and it's called Metacritic. And on that website, critics' evaluations of a movie are tabulated and averaged out to create a score. So no general users, just critics. If it's scored a 60 or above, it's green. If it scores an 80 or above, it's a must-see. If it's in the 50s, it's yellow. And if it's in the 40s or below, it's red. So we're gonna guess where Black Panther: Wakanda Forever lands. So we're gonna start off with Aidan because he keeps winning, and we don't want him to.
And I can't use
anymore.
my strategies if I go first.
Exactly. This is
Because
his
yeah,
handicap.
you guys narrow it down for me because if you guys guess, I won't get into my games. But anyway, so okay,
You must be fun at parties,
yeah.
Like at board game nights. You're like super strategy.
I think if I went to board game night with Aidan, I think I would fucking just. I would. I don't even want to. I don't even want to say what I do.
I'm actually like definitely an asshole. Like I'm really like I'm trying to read people. And I'm like, yeah, I'm in your head. I'm in your head right now. Like,
it's like, bro, we playing Twister right now. Like, what are you doing?
I was trying to think of a good game. You win.
Dude, Aidan is a competitive Uno player.
Yes. Yeah.
Dude, I count cards. Yeah.
I bet.
I count. You cannot say I count cards and then you're like, oh, really? What do you do? Fucking Uno.
Anyway, so Aidan, what do you think the Metacritic score for this movie is?
Okay, so I saw some reviews leading up to this movie, as we all did, and I felt like they were all echoing similar sentiments, which is stuff that I generally agree with too. I think I want to go on the low end of the 80s because I think this movie is going to be well received, but I also want to kind of hedge my bet because I feel like it might have been in the 70s. So I'm going to go 81.
Dude, I knew you were going to say that. I knew you were going to say
that. Okay, I'll go next. I think I could see this being a healthy 78. Okay. Peter, you can go next. We'll let our guests go last, which is, I think, the nicest spot to go. Easiest. You kind of get a good idea of what the score should be. So, Peter, what do you think?
I'm gonna really game theory this. 80.
No, that's a bad guess.
That was short. That was a really short game theory segment.
I'll definitely not lose. You know what I mean? Because you guys are cushioning.
Only if it's in the middle.
You can literally only win if it's the number you are on.
Yeah, but I can't lose. Or you tie
with Alex.
I can't lose though. You know what I mean?
Yes, you can easily.
Yes, you can. Everyone loses but the winner.
Yeah,
no, but as long as I don't do the synopsis, I'm not losing.
I'm really explaining this to Peter. Adrian, where do you think Black Panther: Wakanda Forever lands?
Man, I'm gonna be honest. I saw some news articles this morning, and I was just like, "Damn, why are people?" There's a lot of mixed communication, being like, "Where do we stand?" But I think, oh shit, man, I don't even know. Like, can I say like 85?
You certainly can say 85. Yeah. Let's find out. Here we go.
Although 82 is technically the more strategic guess there.
Oh fuck! Oh shit!
What's up? Talk to me.
Let me just do my math, my calculations. I think I win this time.
Oh
Kiss my ass, Aidan. And it's much lower than we all expected.
Really?
Yeah, I think we were all giving it like the benefit of a doubt, and like the fact that people are gonna like this one, hopefully. And no, this is critics. So I'll just say it. I'm not gonna make you guess again. It got 67.
Really?
Yo, that's not
on Metacritic.
No, they're wrong.
That's too low.
Some other 60s movies were like anything Ryan Reynolds makes usually ends up in the 60s. The better ones, that is. So Deadpool, Free Guy are on the lower end of 60s. That's always the benchmark I go for. I can't think of anything else off the top of my head, but yeah, that's I think Lamb was in the 60s.
Okay.
What do you guys think about that?
That's low, man. That's way too low. Yeah.
I think that's
we'll get into it.
Fucking bullshit.
I think, it's probably a little bit low. Like I definitely would have kept it in the lower 70s, but I think maybe the 60s is a bit harsh. But yeah, we will get into it. So seeing as I'm the winner, I get to decide who goes first.
A synopsis. Oh wait,
No. We
after,
wait.
right?
No.
Yeah.
We've had this issue before. I would like to hear from Adrian, if you don't mind. I would like to hear your thoughts first.
On Black Panther without any spoilers.
Yeah, this is your non-spoiler.
Yes, this is our non-spoiler review. No spoilers.
Yes. When I walked into the theater, I was nervous. I sat down. I'm sitting there, and I'm like, "Fuck! I really hope they don't fuck this up." And then when I like the start of it, I was just like, I don't like how they're doing this. But then the ball started to pick up, and then by the end, I was satisfied with the movie. How everything was done. I think the storyline was done in a way that was setting up the next Black Panther, whenever that is. I think the fucking villain in the movie was the greatest villain by far in the MCU, in my opinion. Just because, like, I like the villains that you can kind of like relate to. So, like, if you can, like, I feel like you can't relate to Thanos because I can't relate to fucking my planet being blown up, and I'm not a fucking purple dickhead. Aidan, neither am I. Yeah. But I like it when you can relate to it. So like you can relate to even Killmonger, how he's like, yo, like there's like in the first movie he's saying, yo man, there's a bunch of like black people out in the world that are struggling. We have the resources to liberate them. Why are we not doing anything? And he's trying to look out for his people, but he's doing it in such an evil way. And I think Namor, or how they say in the movie, Namor.
Ooh, whoa, do that again.
Namor. I don't know if you can see through the little camera, but Alex just got hard. I'm just saying for listeners. Yeah, like the way that they I don't know, like the way that they wrote the character and they did it compared to the comics, you can like really relate to the character, and I think that added so much to the movie. And in my opinion, overall, I think the movie was by far my favorite MCU movie on top of everything.
Wow.
High praises.
I have some follow-up questions. What did you, and I forgot, I'm going to get everyone else to start with this question. I forgot to mention this. What did you think of the first Black Panther? Just a very quick couple sentences.
Man, you know what's funny? I actually saw it last night at 3 a.m.
Okay.
I honestly, like, rewatching that again, just because, like, I watched the second one, I was like, damn, like, the first Black Panther, like, it's still cool, but, like, I like the second one better. And it could have been cooler if, like, you know, Chadwick Boseman was in it. But when the first Black Panther came out, I thought it was, like an awesome movie. I really enjoyed it. Like, no hate. Like, I really liked it.
Yeah. Where would you rank this out of 5? 5 stars. How many stars would you give Black Panther Wakanda Forever?
4.5.
Wow, nice. And would you recommend this to a friend?
Absolutely. 100%. Dude, I started texting the whole northern hemisphere. I was like, yo man, you gotta get down here. You gotta get down here and watch Black Panther. I started texting everyone. They're like, oh, is it good? I'm like, it's fucking phenomenal. And I blocked them for questioning me.
Okay, great. Let's hear from Peter next. Usually I pick on Peter and make him go first, but
the Family Guy.
Okay,
yeah.
So
right.
Okay.
So
that was so stupid. I'm sorry.
Guys, shut up. We have to hear Peter's opinion. Guys, shut up.
Fuck Peter. No, I'm just kidding.
So this movie actually really surprised me because I was not hyped about this movie at all from the trailers and whatever. Why? Because like it didn't, like, I don't know what the movie seemed to just depict a very simple war between two very powerful nations, and doesn't really interest me. But the movie really surprised me. I enjoyed it way more than I was expecting, and I can confidently say that this is the best. I think we're in phase 4 right now, are we? Or phase 5?
Yeah, we're in phase 4. This is the phase 4.
Yeah, this is the best phase 4 movie. Like, Spider-Man does not hold a candle to this movie. This movie is leagues ahead of Spider-Man. I think this movie, to me, I think the real highlight for me is the politics. I think Black Panther movies have often had a tradition of involving global and regional politics into their movies. So the first one is about the black communities around the globe, how Wakanda is not sharing its resources, and then in this one we get into similar levels. What happened, like repercussion after the first movie when T'Challa opened up the borders to built outreach centers, etc., around the world. What happened then? And I think it's a very interesting topic that Ryan Coogler is exploring, and that sort of grounds the movie in a way that no other MCU films can. Because this is a very real issue that you can totally see happen in our world. This is not some crazy space monster coming to Earth and destroying everyone. This is something that's very real that can be happening in this world right now, which I really appreciate.
The underwater people?
No, I'm talking about the competition for resource and
Okay, sure.
and
The underwater people.
yeah the politics. I think it's very very cool how they explored it, and in my opinion, like probably like some of the best acting I've seen out of all these people, especially from the Queen. I think
Angela
I don't know if it's like
Bassett?
Oscar.
Well, Angela
Oscar,
Bassett's like a great actor. Like,
yeah, I don't know if it's like
she's
Oscar
known, like-
nomination level, but her speech in the movie, woo, like it gave me chills, man. Like you hear part of it in the trailer, and she delivered it in a way that's so powerful that just shocked me when I was watching it. Rated out of 5, I gave it a 4 out of 5. I think it definitely has its flaws. The villain is weak as usual. I think the villain is really like split between two. Like there's one side of him that's great, that's built up, but there's another side of him that's just completely stupid and garbage. So
we're gonna have a race war on the podcast.
Dude, we'll get into it during this.
Cracking his knuckles. He's about to beat Peter.
Peter's gonna feel my wrath during this fucking podcast.
Dude,
Peter, you're lucky you're in a different city right now.
we'll talk about it in the spoiler section, but I think the villain is not that great. But I think compared to Black Panther 1, I watched it very recently as well. This is a stronger movie in my opinion. We'll get into like exactly why later on, but also this is like a really like hard topic to tackle. But if Chadwick is in this movie, would he make this movie better? I think we can talk about that in the spoiler segments as well. But I would definitely recommend this to everyone.
I don't know if I want to talk about that, to be honest with you.
That's how I felt too, Aidan. Like you sent me the discussion point, and I was thinking like, yeah, no, I don't want to talk about that like at all. But I might have to touch on it. I guess would you recommend this? I think that's the only other thing.
Yeah, I would recommend this to absolutely everybody. I think it's a great movie.
Okay. Let's keep our gloves off, if that's the phrase.
Yeah.
We're all friends here.
Yep.
And let's hear from Aidan. First off, I'd like to hear though, because I keep forgetting, Black Panther thoughts first, then Wakanda Forever.
Yeah, so I liked Black Panther. I wasn't the first one. I wasn't blown away by it. There were definitely problems I had that I think a lot of it wasn't the fault of the movie necessarily. Like, I know it's a common criticism that the CG really falls apart in the movie, and it's like, I don't want to beat a dead horse, but like it does. It like, and it in really important scenes where it needs to be better than it is. But then I also have different problems with the writing and the way the script develops. But I like it. I generally liked it. That being said, I agree. I think this movie's a lot better. I really, really like this movie. I think that there are some pacing problems, and I think there are some structural problems. I got the feeling that they filmed a fuck ton for this movie, like a lot, and that they cut a lot down. And especially there were some scenes where it's cross-cutting between two scenes, and I was like, I feel like this wasn't meant to be cross-cut at first. I think that they're trying to save some runtime here. But there is also another side of the writing that I really like. I think that it's dealing with some cool ideas. I think the characters are well developed. I think there's actually like it doesn't beat you over the head with like what the characters want and how they're feeling. There's some kind of clunky exposition in the first act. Like there's some lines where it's like, yeah, characters saying things that every character already knows, and it's like, yeah, which is really honest. But yeah, but there's a lot I really like. I really like the villain. I think the villain's great. I think the conflict is so interesting in this movie. This is the most interesting and engaging conflict, I think, in an MCU movie. I think like the only other movie where like it made me like think a little bit, it was like maybe Civil War, which I think is maybe giving that movie a bit too much credit. But I really liked how I wasn't necessarily rooting for Wakanda at the end. I was like, I don't know if I agree with what they're doing, but I also don't agree with the other guys necessarily. Um, there's a lot I really like. This movie is very pretty. I think there are a lot of scenes that are shot very, very well. Nice, pretty colors. I like pretty colors, and a lot of MCU movies don't have that. Yeah, I really, really liked this movie. It was a really good one for me. So I would definitely recommend this to anyone. I think anyone could have a good time with it. My star rating, I'm bouncing between a 3.5 and a 4 out of 5. Probably 3.5. I think that there's some things that needed to be a bit better developed, but I think this movie was very, very good. So 3.5 or 4. I think it's great. No, I'll go 4. Okay. 4. For what it's trying to be, I think it's 4 stars. Yeah.
Cool. It's interesting that you said that you think there's more content than we see, because I have heard that people, like, this isn't the first time I've heard something like that. Some people said, like, you know, this should have been a 2-part movie. And I wouldn't go as far to say that. I feel like that's stretching the story a bit thin at that point, but it seems people share a similar sentiment. So my thoughts on Black Panther. Now, I've seen it, crazily enough, 2 times in the past week. Now, you might be asking, why on earth would you do that? I have an explanation. So I watched it, you know, did my Letterboxd review, and then I started reading other reviews and watching videos on YouTube kind of talking about it. And I realized that, you know what, maybe I didn't give it enough credit. Maybe I missed something. And, you know, there's certain perspectives that, you know, I'm just not going to get as a white guy. And so, you know, I did watch a video that kind of like explained some of the context. And I was like, oh, that's actually really interesting. So I tried watching it again with that new lens. The second time I did not watch the whole thing. I had to stop before Act 3, you know, ruins the movie and like leaves a bad taste in my mouth. But like, I think the first 2 acts of that movie are like definitely not perfect, but fairly strong. I think Killmonger probably is one of the best villains in the MCU. I think a lot of the scenes, there's a handful of scenes in Black Panther 2018 that are like the best directed in the MCU, and I feel like as like I think Ryan Coogler just really does a great job with unfortunately only a couple specific scenes, mostly the ones with Killmonger in them, and just when, you know, CGI and spectacle gets bigger, I feel like he stopped knowing what to do and like probably was a little bit out of his depth, and, you know, like I can empathize with that, but it shows. And it I also don't think the writing is particularly strong for Black Panther 1. Like it's good. Like it's a 3 or 3.5 for writing, but like there's something missing there. There's like 20 minutes of the movie where T'Challa is gone, and like he doesn't have a character development like or arc in the most interesting, hardest part of the character's journey. They just kind of like take that out of the movie because he's in a coma, and then I don't care for that particularly.
I think like there's also problems with like the way the writing sets up the intro. My take really quick. I think they should have shown that T'Chaka killed his brother right off the bat. I think that makes that movie so much stronger instantly. But whatever.
Yeah, I have heard that opinion, and I think that's a fair case to make, because the opening scene is
nothing
rather abruptly.
The opening scene is nothing.
I was actually that, you know what I mean? The first time the first time watching it in the past week, I was like I actually thought that the scene, we cut to Eric, who we don't know is Eric, outside. I thought the scene ends with him going up to his dad and seeing his dad dead, and then it didn't, and I was like, oh, that's it. Oh, okay. I must have forgot, and so that was weird. But hey, we watched a different movie, so let's talk about that. Wakanda Forever. In some ways, it's better than the first, and in other ways, it's not. That's the best way I can describe it. I think Black Panther 1 is concise and focused, where Black Panther Wakanda tries to do too much. I can say this now because it's not a spoiler. Riri Williams' character, Ironheart, feels completely out of place. Like, an afterthought. Something that Kevin Feige said, put her in the movie because we got to promote the Disney Plus series that's coming out eventually. And it ruins the movie, really. Like, I think if you simply took out that one character, I think it becomes so much more focused on the actual conflict and the story about grief, which I at times found really moving and interesting. It definitely gets lost along the way because so many other things start happening. What else can I say? It's the most beautiful MCU. Aiden thinks it's pretty. I think it's beautiful.
Colors.
I don't think the MCU has ever looked better than this movie.
Oh yeah.
And I think a huge part of that is Autumn Arkapow, the DP, as well as Ryan Coogler. I think his direction has stepped up considerably from the first movie. I think it's more assured and intentional. And as I had mentioned for the first movie, I think he has a better handle, not perfect, but a better handle on spectacle and CGI. I think the fight scenes are better in this one. Right. What else can I say? I think Namor, if you will.
Yes.
Yes, I will. Namor is a very interesting villain. I think Tenoch Huerta is fantastic. I have to say that I'm a little bit towards like what Peter was saying and what Aidan was saying about like being confused by his motivations at times, and I think it was a little rushed. So, and I mean, it's hard to compare him against Killmonger, but I mean, I do think Killmonger was more empathetic. It was easier to empathize, and that's just based on the scenes we're given. We see Killmonger deal with that personal loss, and the same can't be said for Namor. And I mean, you don't want to repeat yourself, so that's fine. But all I'm saying is, I think Killmonger was a stronger villain for the first one. But I do think Namor is still a standout villain for the MCU. Top 10 easily, maybe even top 5. And what else can I say? Can't believe Agent Ross is in this still, and that whole subplot is ridiculous. The third act kind of devolves into a mess of a big fight, as it usually does for these Black Panther movies. And leaving the theater, I just kind of felt nothing. I was like, okay, that happened, that ended. Whereas the start, like I was getting teary-eyed. And so that kind of feels like really strong start, and then it just kind of becomes really messy. So those are my thoughts. I'll wrap this up. I gave it a 3.5 stars out of 5. It's a soft 3.5, and the thing is, I could lean either way. I had originally given it a 4, and I think the people giving it a 3 are perfectly valid. So that's kind of where I'm at. I would recommend people go see this. People like blockbusters, and I think as far as blockbusters go, unlike other ones that came out recently, this one's well made and has a heart to it, even if it gets lost along the way. I think supporting this kind of movie over the corporate bullshit that is Black Adam is always good. And not to say that this isn't corporate, but what are you gonna do? And so those are my thoughts. I think that's enough from me. So let's hear a brief synopsis from who lost? Was it? I think it was
Adrian.
Adrian. So you got to give us a
Aidan, right?
No,
Adrian gave an 85.
Oh, wow.
Adrian, so what you got to do is you got to give a very brief synopsis of the plot of the movie. Aidan, that means it's time for.
Pew, 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 pew. Spoilers! Spoilers! Pew, 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 pew,
Thank
pew.
you. It's spoiler
Pew,
time.
pew,
So
pew,
we're gonna talk about.
pew, pew.
Thank you. Adrian is gonna tell us what happens in the movie so that people listening who didn't see it are in the loop. So, Adrian, what happens in this movie?
So the movie begins. We are dealing with the death of T'Challa. He has died from a disease. Shuri was trying to fuck off, guys. Shuri was trying to heal him by making a synthetic heart shaper, but she isn't able to, and he dies. Fast forward a year later, we discover that like a lot of Western countries are trying to get hold of vibranium, and Wakanda is not down for this because they know it's going to happen. The political intrigue increases more and more. We see that the United States is mining for vibranium under the sea, and Namor's people come up and they don't like this. And they're like, fuck you. And then they go to Wakanda and they're like, you motherfuckers caused this mess, so you need to find the scientist who made the machine. So then they do that. Shuri and Okoye go over to America, where they find Riri Williams, who's the scientist. The FBI try to capture them, but they evade the FBI. Yeah.
Oh, no, sorry, you're right. It's both.
Yep. And then, but Namor's people also wind up kidnapping both Riri and Shuri, and then Okoye is left behind. Okoye is stripped of her general rank. It's really sad. Poor Okoye. That sucks. She didn't get her pension. But anyway, so we have Shuri and Riri are then trapped under the sea, and yep, they're trapped under the sea. Nakia is enlisted to come help them. She breaks them out, but she kills one of the Talokan citizens in the process. This provokes Namor to attack Wakanda. In the process, the Queen of Wakanda dies, which prompts Shuri to be even more vengeful. She develops this plan to draw the Talokan people out. So they do that, and they have this big fight on the boat. She has developed this device that is able to entrap Namor and suck his powers off, suck him dry, one might say. They have this big fight because Shuri has learned how to create the synthetic heart-shaped herb. She is now the Black Panther. And Shuri is about to kill Namor, but decides not to do it. She doesn't go down the vengeful path, which is cool. There's this sort of alliance formed between Talokan and Wakanda. And then Shuri finally gets a chance to grieve, and it's revealed that Nakia actually has a son, T'Challa, the son of T'Challa. And then we're at the end of the movie.
Also, Ross is rescued from being imprisoned.
Also, yeah, Agent Everett Ross is also rescued, which is very important.
Let's get into our discussion of this movie. So first off, let's talk about the direction and cinematography. I think this is a huge step up, as I mentioned, from the first movie.
Oh, yeah.
Specifically in those two departments. The movie feels very like intimate. I think there's a lot of like closer shots, not so much wide shots in like the entire movie, really. Kind of like a floating camera vibe and a lot of like long shots. I was really impressed.
Yeah, I think that this movie, there were a couple shots where I was like, oh my god, like watching this movie. There's this one overhead shot
during the boat fight.
Yeah, towards the end, when it's all of them in the water and like the different colors, the different people. I was like, oh my god, that's beautiful. Like the stuff in the Wakandan streets is beautiful. Like it's like constantly at like golden hour. Like this movie's like, very often I agree, at golden hour, and I think it gives this like really nice diffused soft light onto the actors, and I think that.
And there was this sort of side shot where we got the Wakandan aircraft sort of diving down while the sun is setting. Absolutely beautiful shot.
And I will say though,
in the first movie, like I think sure I recognize the same shot you're talking about. Sorry, Aidan.
I think the direction is a lot better for me in this one than the first one, and I think, like you were saying, Alex, like particularly with fight scenes. But I did have a problem with. There were multiple times where I was like, okay, I can tell that this is a really cool, well choreographed fight scene, but you're cutting around the things. I felt like there was the cutting was a bit too rapid, like, and it was the typical American style of cutting action scenes where like you cut at the punch, you know what I mean, and you don't see the hit. And so there are a few times where it doesn't do that, and it's like, oh shit, and like you feel it when it does. You can tell when it happens.
Interesting. I definitely have had a problem with that in the past, but I didn't pick up on it this time. Not to say that it wasn't.
It wasn't to an extreme degree. It was much better in this movie than it often is in American movies and Marvel movies. But that was just one problem I had. But I overall really liked the direction and cinematography of this.
I'm gonna try and find my review for Iron Man 3 because there's one segment, like a fight scene in that movie, where Iron Man is fighting the Fire Lady, like in where are they? Like the cold Midwestern
Something like
town. I don't know.
Where
And they're fighting like a kitchen or something.
Mhm.
And there's like a million cuts. And it's like the Black Adam thing.
Yeah.
Anyway, someone talk while I try to find this.
Yeah, but I think Peter, you said do you want to talk about set design? Because I also want to talk about set design.
So it's not just
sorry, I found it. In 12 seconds, this is a fight scene from Iron Man 3. In 12 seconds, there are 24 cuts.
Really?
What?
That's 2 cuts per second. No, and they're moving. So
yeah.
It's like he looks cut, and it's absurd. It's a terrible fight scene. Anyway, sorry. You wanted to talk about design.
Yeah, so I wanted to touch on 2 things actually. Like first is actually the costume design. So I get it that they want to differentiate the Talokan people from the Wakandan people, so they can't really be another high-tech race hiding underwater. And also they want to differentiate their sort of ocean world with Aquaman's ocean world because Aquaman already done it. So they decided to put them in traditional clothing, which is cool. But my only problem with the design part is the underwater world is so dark that like it's like I know it makes realistic sense, but like in a filmmaking standpoint and just from an audience standpoint, it's not really great for the audience. Like it's cool to see some of the shots, especially when Namor is about to sit on his throne and you just see like one beam of sunlight shining down on him, and that was really cool. And also Namor sort of built this artificial sun underneath. But like the fact that the lighting is so scarce in all of these scenes really just made it for like a less enjoyable viewing experience.
I agree with that. I think that overall I loved the set design of this and I loved the design of this, but I actually do agree. I felt the same way where I was like, I want to see this world and I feel like it's really dark and it's a movie. Like I understand that it would be super dark, but you know what I mean? Like you don't have to make it that. But I think that like there's so much good detail, like because they're essentially like they descend from like Mayan people, so you see Mayan hieroglyphs like along the side. I like there's the detail of like the title cards were Mayan hieroglyphs too. That was cool too. I think that like I like the paintings and stuff like looked Mayan, like they looked like the kind of things you see on Mayan ceramics and stuff. And so I really like that. I think Wakanda looked great, but I think Wakanda looked great in the first film too. I really loved the set design for this.
Nice. Adrian, did you have any thoughts about the set design?
Going back to Peter's point about the whole underwater thing, I would as soon as they cut to Talokan, I honestly thought the same thing. I'm like, man, why is this so dark? Like, if you're trying to show a brand new city and a brand new place, like it was so dark. And when that specific scene when like Shuri is being shown around, you can kind of see like a little bit more like up close, but like even then, like I would have loved to see more of the city because I think it was cool. But yeah, I agree with that.
That's interesting. I didn't have a problem with the darkness of the city. Like you guys are not alone. I've seen that opinion everywhere. So, you know, it's come up quite a bit, but I didn't mind it. And I thought some of the shots that they do because of the limited light sources, like the shot of Namor descending onto the throne, are actually more interesting because it's not super well lit and there's like one particular light source it's more dynamic and interesting lighting.
Sure. I think they could balance that. I think they could like make us that when he's doing that, they turn off the lights and stuff like that. You know what I mean? Like
I don't know. Also, just like I'm getting a little annoyed with vibranium and how it's just like a
It's
one
everything.
metal. Yeah, it's like a fucking pocket knife, Swiss Army knife that can do anything. It's a light source. It's a healing thing. It's a super strong metal. Like, pick one. Why does it? It's an energy source. Like it does fucking everything. So I just wish there was a little bit more consistency there, but
Dude, since you're
oh,
talking about vibranium, I just want to bring it up that like in the first movie and like towards the end of this movie, they're very protective of vibranium. It's like it can't get out, smuggling, stop that. And like at the end when Riri wants to take her suit with her, Shuri told her you can't take the suit. But like
yeah.
literally Okoye lost her spear like on the bridge and no one like recovered that spear. So it's just like a Wakandan spear in the wild now.
Oh, that's weird. I forgot about
Oh
that.
shit, I forgot
Yeah.
about that.
Yeah.
Wait a minute. Wait a minute. Hold
Did the
on.
people
Hold
of
on.
Talcon not take it?
Maybe. I hope they
Did,
did.
No. She left her spear. I don't remember that happening. No. Are you sure she left her spear?
She lost
Because
her spear, and like remember, Shuri told her like we got you a new spear.
okay, because I remember she digs her spear into the ground when she's fired.
That's
Yeah,
true.
but that's like another
It's a
spear though,
different.
like
Okay.
because
Because
she had to sort of like
okay,
escape by
I
jumping
want you
in
to
the water.
remember this. So she lost her spear. Do you remember the show She-Hulk?
Okay.
Remember the loser guy
Uh-huh.
has a Wakandan spear?
Oh my god!
What if he has a Okoye's
That's
spear?
crazy. That's crazy. Okay.
What if? There you go.
I just want to make a fun point there, but like before we move on from like the whole design or stuff, I just want to comment
Okay.
one more thing.
Yes.
The soundtrack of this movie, fucking amazing. I love what they did with the sound and score of this movie, and I just want to point out one particular example when Shuri and Namor were swimming around Talcon. The music with like that ethereal Spanish voice, just oh my god, just completely immersed me in that experience. I think like Ludwig did a very very good job with the music of this movie, and like I don't know if this is a case of this movie, but I heard in Avatar, James Cameron hired people to like design like a whole new set of whole new set of music for the Avatar people. But then they eventually pretty much like threw most of it away to sort of mix like some traditional music with Western symphony and orchestra instead. But I don't know what they did with this movie, but I heard a lot of like folk and traditional like sounds that you were associated with the African culture, and I really appreciate that they incorporated more of that into this movie. And I hope like it was not just mixing it with orchestra like what they did with Avatar, but I thought the music design was very cool.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Peter's a big music guy. Anyways, I don't have any thoughts on that. Let's talk about our lead character, Shuri. Now, it's hard to separate the character from the real world and some of the, not great things we've heard about the actor. But let's focus on the movie.
Yeah.
I think that now this is an opinion that, might not be super popular, but I think Shuri as a character is more interesting than T'Challa was in Black Panther.
I think in the first Black Panther, they don't give T'Challa much to do.
He isn't. He's almost not a character. Like he's so bland. Let me finish. There's a lot of people around him, who are giving him advice and have very clear standpoints, and he's just kind of like listening to all of them the whole time. But he doesn't have any flaws that he has to struggle with or any defining characteristics. And it's crazy because he premiered in Civil War, and in that movie he has a very clear character and he's all about revenge and I don't know, some other stuff, but like he's a very clear and interesting character, and it's very odd that they drop that completely for the movie. So I think what Coogler does with Shuri in this movie and how she's struggling with grief and like how she just wants to forget about it, but she has to, and then that eventually turns into rage and how she has to keep that under control. I think that's a really interesting character arc that honestly was not at all present in Black Panther 1. A character arc that is, not Shuri's in particular.
So I think every character leveled up for this movie. A lot of characters in the first one felt really one-dimensional to me, and in this one, they all have complex characteristics, personalities, and agendas. Most, especially agendas, I felt like. So,
Yeah.
I agree.
I was gonna say I definitely agree with the point about Shuri. I think her arc is a lot more interesting in this movie. I really like how there's kind of like a struggle with her faith too in that, and that obviously
Right,
like
like
works
the
in tandem with
tech versus phase.
yeah. Well, it also like it literally starts with like the first thing in the movie is like her saying like to the gods, if you save my brother now, like I will like devote myself to you more. Like she says something like that, and how she has to learn to reconnect with her ancestors and stuff like that. I thought that was a really cool arc, and but I do agree with Alex where I think it gets muddled a little bit by a messy plot that tries to do too much, and I think that I think that there needed to be a little bit more focus on that.
Well, I think it was fine in like the first little bit, but as soon as more people got involved, as like more characters got introduced, it definitely got a little messy. Like, but in the first act, I thought it was pretty crystal.
Yeah, and we might as well address now the fact that I've heard this from multiple people, not just people on this podcast, but I've heard a lot of people say that they wish that T'Challa had been in this movie, and then what would the movie have looked like with T'Challa, and like I think it's kind of two-sided. Like I think it's nice to miss an actor who has sadly passed away, but also you have to just kind of like be like, okay, that happened and we have to move forward. And I think at least I worry that there's a little bit of like dare I say, like a little bit, just a hint of misogyny there, in that they would prefer the male character to continue on, and they don't want anything to do with the female characters who are left.
My take, I don't think it's like a fair question to ask. Like, what would the movie be like with T'Challa? It's like because that wasn't a choice that was made.
Exactly, that too. Thank you. That's what I meant with my first point. Yeah. I don't think it's worth talking about because it's just it can happen and it's unfortunate, but like, and the fact that people are like, man, I would have preferred T'Challa in this. Like, yeah, I would have preferred that Chadwick Boseman was still alive, but also like it just feels like very, just a
and I think the movie handled it tastefully too. And like they could have done grotesque CGI corpse.
Oh my god! Thank goodness they didn't.
And thank goodness, thank God they didn't. And yeah.
So I think it's two parts. So you guys talk about the handling of Chadwick's death of this movie. I think, like in universe, it's Black Panther's death, but like to us, I think the first act is about mourning Chadwick Boseman.
Mourning,
yeah. Sorry.
Moaning, and I was like, "What?"
Yeah, I saw Adrian look up, and I was like, "Yeah."
Sorry. I think to us, it's as much about mourning Chadwick Boseman as as Black Panther. So like to us, first act is us sort of missing him as an actor, as a person, and as it's similar to Wakandan people missing Black Panther. So I agree, it was handled very well. But also to the question of would this movie be better with Chadwick around? Chadwick is obviously a very charismatic actor, but I think they could not have done this plot, like this emotional and personal plot about like Shuri's character growth without, sort of oh my god, I sort of let myself down.
What are you talking about? You can't do the emotional plot with Shuri
grieving
her brother if her brother's alive.
No.
Oh
my god.
What are you talking about?
Okay, wait, are you saying like you liked the conflict and the plot and the character arc?
Yes, here you go. Thank you.
Okay, but I think it's fair to acknowledge like if Chadwick Boseman did not sadly pass away, they could have had a different arc
they had a complete script before like this happened. And Ryan Coogler was managed to pivot very gracefully. And
Okay.
like
Sure. I don't want to talk more about
yeah,
that.
let's keep
Let's
going.
end it there. Speaking of, the funeral scenes at the beginning, I think, like you said, I think they handled it tastefully. I liked how they opened the film. Um, I do want to mention that, like, canonically, this is the third time that T'Challa has either passed away, or the character T'Challa has either passed away or was believed to be dead. So part of me was, this was in the back of my mind thinking, like, we know that there's something else going on, but, like, what does that mean for the characters? And I think they made it different, and it it mirrors the real world, and I think it was a well done scene that kind of confronts head on, like, what Shuri is dealing with within the movie. And yeah, like I said, I got a little bit teary eyed, I will admit. Like, I think it was a really moving sequence, like, all the way up until the coffin got tractor beamed by the Wakandan ship, and I was like, why are we doing this? Like, it got a little goofy there, and yeah, I was like, okay, you lost me. Like, it was so strong, and then tractor beam and the coffin in this vertical, and I was like, oh, why are we doing this? But I mean, otherwise, like, a really great sequence, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, some collective nodding, and yeah, okay, great. Let's move on. Sure.
I agree with you.
For some reason, the next character we have to talk. We've kind of sectioned this off in characters. For whatever reason, the next character is our favorite, Agent Ross.
Yeah. Who doesn't need to be here?
No, not at all. There's a great criticism of the first movie that the handling of the CIA is terrible, because it just seems like this goofy, not goofy necessarily, but like, here's the nice, I'm different, I'm a nice guy. But he's like, it's from the fucking CIA, and they never address that. And so I do think Coogler, like, took that in, and he did try to make it clear that the CIA aren't great people.
I just felt like the ex-wife reveal was a little too much. Like, I know they're trying to connect characters together, but, like,
it was way too much. It was
I didn't give a fuck when they said. I was like, okay.
Okay, guys, when Val showed up, I started laughing hysterically in the theater, because, like, it's so silly, and it's like, it's embarrassing. It's embarrassing that they put her in this movie that is supposed to be about Chadwick Boseman's legacy.
No, like, she doesn't need to be there at all.
That's a, like, super corporate move, and I'm like, it's almost appalling that, like, it's offensive. Like it's all these things. I'm really annoyed by that.
I think
okay. I would say though. Sorry, Aidan. Go ahead. I think your point will be more related. I have some.
I was just gonna say, I do like the wrinkle in the plot. I think I think it was Peter that was talking about. I think, like, I find the fact that, like, these Western nations are, like, pining after vibranium, I think that's a great aspect of the plot, and, like, the pressure it puts on Wakanda and Talokan. I think that's great. Like, I really love that, and I'm glad we saw a side of that. Like, I'm glad that it was like something that was just like giving a basis for the conflict between Wakanda and Talokan, and I thought that was great. But I just think, like, do that differently. Like, we don't need to follow these characters like that. We can follow, you know what I mean? Like, maybe that one woman that's in the beginning on the ship, like, just something like that.
Yeah.
And just just that we have a bit of, like, we know what America is doing. Like, I do think that's an important part of the movie, but we don't need this, like, relationship, Ross doing whatever. Yeah, I don't like it.
Like, Ross being, like, a whistleblower and just trying to be but I'm a good guy.
Yeah. I thought
it feels so forced.
When he's talking about some of the CIA stuff, I'm like, okay, but like you're justifying. Like, he's like, guys, like, my organization's got to do some stuff, and it's like, no, that's bad stuff. You're doing bad stuff. Like,
and like, the idea of Martin Freeman and Elaine from Seinfeld having been married is hilarious to me.
That's really funny.
Like, I don't see it at all, and her purple hair, I'll never get over how silly she looks like a teenage girl. Like, that's, I don't know why they're pushing that, and it looks like a wig, and it's, oh my god. I think he should have stayed in jail at the end. Let's just keep him in jail.
Oh my god.
And I hope that I don't know if Kugler's going to stay on for the third one. Hard to say, but I don't know. Wouldn't it be interesting if the CIA were finally the actual villains of the Black Panther movie?
That'd be great.
Instead of being like kind of around, like adjacent. Because so far it's just been like other non-white characters as villains, and it's always like very sympathetic characters, and it's like, hey, but why are they the villains? Or more often they're anti-heroes, but we've got a real villain right here.
Yeah, the CIA would absolutely be trying to destabilize Wakanda and doggone in real life.
Let's make Agent Ross the villain next time. I want to see that. We're really bad. I think they should bring back Claw or like.
And you don't need to make him like, grr, I hate Wakanda. Like, he can still be the same like kind of mild mannered guy, but it's just because of his position and his ideology and everything. You know what I mean? Like, I think it literally could be good. But yeah,
exactly. And the issue is like Black Panther doesn't have like a huge roster of super well-known villains. Like, I can't think of any other than the two we've already seen and Namor. I think some people have been saying Doctor Doom, and like that could work. I mean, it's your third secret nation. So we might be getting into a bit of a repeat situation, but yeah. So we've got one other character that was a lot for this movie to handle. One Riri Williams, aka Ironheart. I hated like I don't mind the character per se, but like the fact that she's in this movie is ridiculous.
Yeah, she doesn't need to be here.
It really does feel like they had written a script and then Kevin Feige said, "Hey, why don't we make that character Ironheart?" Like just random scientist or some other plot. Maybe it wasn't even a scientist, like it was something else. Yeah. But just feels like shoehorned in. And
also, her suit looks bad at the end.
I mean, dude, oh my god. I was going to tell...
Yeah.
Dude, okay, let's look at the first Iron Man suit. Iconic, well-designed, and that was back in 2008. Her suit looks like something out of a Toy Story movie, bro. Like, it's so bad.
Very smooth.
Yeah, like, dude, like, it does not fit the Marvel design, and she's supposed to be, like, the next Iron Man, like, she's supposed to be on the same level as Tony Stark.
She's Tony clearly... It's an Iron Man suit. Like, she's the next Iron Man.
Yeah, but, like, dude, come on, it looks so bad. What happened to the people who designed, like, the Iron Man suits? Like, why didn't they design this one, too?
Yeah, I thought this suit, I personally, I didn't like it. Dude, it looked like... It looked like a shitty version of Transformers. Like,
right?
I saw it, I started laughing because I'm like, it was still cool. Because I'm like, oh shit, like, Ironheart, yeah. But then I was just kind of like, man, this suit kind of looked whack. Just like the face and then like the body of it, I didn't like it that much.
Dude, the fucking eyes, man.
Yeah, I didn't like it that much.
And the helmet. Why is the helmet so squished?
Yeah, it looked like
I can't have a regular helmet.
It looked like a shitty anime like superhero.
It's so bad. And also, to be honest,
honestly, I kind of see that.
I don't mind Ironheart's presence in this movie, but because of her role, like she was literally just there to do quibs. Like she's just there. It's like, whoa, bro, that's crazy. Or just like she's just there to make jokes.
You know what I felt like that they were trying to copy and trying to get the same reaction, but I feel like it didn't work. Is when Spider-Man got brought into Civil War. They were trying to do that exact same thing.
Yeah, you're right. No, that's exactly
it. They were trying to do the exact same thing, but it didn't. It wasn't like it didn't hit. It didn't land. It was still cool. Like, don't get me wrong. Like, much love to that little scene, but like it didn't hit.
Here's what I really loved about Spider-Man in Civil War versus what they did here. So first, they clearly acknowledge the potential harm of bringing children into big battles,
Well, she's not a child.
She's in university.
Spider-Man is a child.
No, but so. she's 19, he's 15. Like there is a difference between those.
But also like she's things. Young, Like I'm just saying like there should be, and this is her first time.
Both have good points. Move on.
Like fighting stuff, And then also like in this movie, she did not serve a role at all. Spider-Man was brought in because, Tony Stark needs an ally. And then it was like sort of like, hey, I'm interested because I want to help you. But in fact, I just need someone to help me fight these guys. But like, she does not serve any role at all in this movie. She was there hiding, and she just cracked a couple jokes, shot out a couple of laser beams, and that's it.
And
I disagree with that. I think she's a lot more she's way more integral to the plot of this than Spider-Man doesn't need to be in Civil War. There's no real reason for him to be there other than
I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about like what she actually did in the movie. I think she could have done more if she wanted to make her like a real side character. You know?
But she's like the MacGuffin, right? Like she's the MacGuffin for the first act and even into 2, and it feels so like out of the Black Panther world, right? Like what made Black Panther 1 so great is and I mean, it's partly because it was a secluded nation. Like, it didn't feel like it was in the MCU. It was its own thing. And every time a movie tries to, feel like it's part of the greater MCU world, it suffers for it. And this is just, like, the latest. Yeah, I mean...
Also, one thing I didn't buy is, like, why would this character like Iron Man? That character in real life would not like Tony Stark.
She didn't mention Iron Man at all. She just said
like why is she doing it? I don't know.
She just said she started building machine at age of 3, and that's
I think for the character development for Ironheart wasn't properly thought out for them. I feel like for the viewer to be like, oh man, this character's cool and all that stuff. They just kind of threw her in there and was like, here, like you said, for promotion.
It's promotion for the Disney Plus series. Like, that's the only reason she's in this movie. And it's one of those things that just feels incredibly corporate about a movie that's supposed to be about grief. Her and Val, really. Those are the two things that are trying to set up future things. And I kind of wish that they would stop doing that. Stop trying to set up something new. It's really fucking annoying. And
I also feel like by kind of distracting from the main plot, I do think that I wish that the tensions between Talokan and Wakanda were just like teased out a little bit more, because it's kind of like they go from being relatively like, okay, we're not gonna go to all out war to we're fucking killing each other, and I feel like there's not that much escalation between those things, and it's because we have to be distracted by Val and the CIA and the Ironheart MacGuffin mission.
Well, since we're talking about this, I want to touch on the politics in this movie. I think the stuff between the nations is played out extremely well, and I think this is one of the movies that, like, it does not feel like an MCU film. You know what I mean? It feels grounded in the way you can see this happening in the real world, and I really appreciate that.
I agree with that. I agree with that 100%.
And I think
was the sound of me snoring at the politics.
This is interesting. Shut the fuck up.
This is really good stuff. Like
this is a big part of the movie.
If we see this in the third movie, but like enlarged, magnified, like actually Western nations go into Wakanda, trying to rob them of their resources and trying to destabilize them, and see how like Wakanda's trying to balance that without, with sort of like a reputation to uphold. Well, not really a reputation, but like their nation to defend, a relationship with Talokan to uphold, etc. It will be very, very interesting. And Aidan, to your point, between the politics between Wakanda and Talokan, like we see that this is why I think Namor is like a great villain but a bad villain at the same time. Namor's politics is extremely interesting. Like, he doesn't not just want to ally with Wakanda because like he wants to fight them, because he also, like, at the end he said eventually Wakanda will come to us for help, and I'm going to leverage that. I'm going to take advantage of that when I have that leverage on them, And I think that's really well played out. Like, he's such a smart character, but then at the second act, he just lost it. He's just like, you know what? We're going to fight these guys. Like, come on, man. Like, you're such a smart character. You, like, let us see the progression. Not just, like, on one side, he's this smart, smooth political operator, and then immediately he turns to hot-headed, I want to fight these guys type of person.
Well, I don't touch on Namor later, but...
Yeah.
I don't mind him. Trying to fight, like deciding to declare war on Wakanda, but I think it just needed to be built up too more.
Yeah, like it's too fast, man. There's no build up.
But yeah, no, I agree. Like, the political intrigue is really interesting, and like I said, like you can completely understand the position that both of them are in, and there's an interesting wrinkle of like the first one ends with, okay, we're going to share resources, we're going to give vibranium to the world, but it's like, okay, well, what would that look like?
Because the repercussion of that.
if we buy into the fact that if we buy into the idea that Wakanda is like not like a real nation, in that Wakanda would be responsible with vibranium, like they would be the most responsible, and I'm fine with buying into that for this, whatever. Like I don't buy that would be a real thing, but like within the universe, I buy that Wakanda is that, and so it's like, how do they distribute vibranium, knowing that the moment they put it out there, they're potentially, making things a lot more
Like they're
dangerous.
harming themselves by introducing this power, because like they're the only one that have this sort of like mining technology, whatever. And as soon as it's out in the world, they're no longer the most powerful nation on Earth. They're vulnerable because they can be attacked with vibranium weapons, and if nations want to declare war on them, they can.
But it's also like, what would like America do with vibranium, which is
right?
They try to conquer the world more. Like,
so many interesting questions. Loved it.
Okay. I mean, like the UN scene, like that was interesting. So like I agree with you, like in that respect. And if they did the CIA as the villains of Black Panther, which I doubt they would do that, but like I agree with you in that sense. But after that, you kind of lost me.
Dude, the politics are a huge part of this movie.
Yeah, I think
like, if you weren't picking up on that, that's a you problem. That's all I'm saying.
I'm not a huge fan of talking about politics. It's not necessarily like if it's on the screen, like cool, but like the word politics, I just kind of shut down.
Okay.
You said so. Oh no, I was thinking about the CIA as villains again. I'm always thinking about that. Having seen Black Panther twice in the last week, there's a scene where Martin Freeman finds out about the vibranium in the mountain, and Shuri also he points out the trains, and Shuri mentions that like the vibranium is kept under control because of the sonic waves, and we see how the sonic things disrupt vibranium in the first movie. So Martin Freeman knows that, and I think they should bring that back for the third one. The fact that Martin Freeman knows something that makes vibranium vulnerable. But we're gonna move on, and we're gonna talk about. Oh my God. You guys are the worst. I'm gonna podcast by myself. They're saying funny things in the chat. Anyways, let's talk about Okoye. Okay. I think she had a fantastic character development in this movie. When she gets fired, I was like, that is the most interesting thing we can do with this character. Yeah. And so I was really happy with it. And then she disappears for 20 minutes and does nothing for the rest of it. So that was probably one of my biggest disappointments as far as like a returning character. Like, Ross gets so much fucking screen time, and Okoye doesn't do all that much in the movie until she becomes the Midnight Angel, which I hate. I hate it so much. I hate the look. I think the costume looks dumb.
Costume looks okay.
Yeah, I was like, whatever on that one.
The eyes are like, she looks like an owl. The eyes are too.
I think that's the point, Alex.
That's kind of the point, I guess.
Are they supposed to be owls?
But absolutely agree with you on the character development though. Like the fact that like it's like in the context, like we may think that the queen is overreacting by firing her, but in the context it makes absolute sense. She thought she lost the only other living member of her family, and and that's like her speech in the throne room. It's the most powerful speech.
Yeah. Okay. Honestly, let's talk about Okoye though. Talk about Okoye.
Yeah. And her facing the responsibility, taking responsibility for her actions is very cool.
Yeah. I just wish that she had more to do in the end, but yeah.
Absolutely.
Another side character that doesn't do a whole lot in this movie, Nakia.
She does a lot.
Let me say what I think. I liked how they brought her back and the why. So like, she's retired spy, and then they think she could destabilize or like, infiltrate, because not destabilize Pelican, but like, she that's her job. So I think that was a great way to bring her into this movie. And then I couldn't tell you anything else she does in the movie. She, rescues people during the water fight, but so does Okoye. And she's just kind of like around, but doesn't really do anything.
She's sort of there to like, like she was absent during T'Challa's funeral, and like she also has like this sort of grief that she's sharing with Shuri. But that sort of got explored at the very end. But whatever.
That's the thing. Like it felt like she was keeping a secret the whole time, and I think that makes her character arc less strong because it always seems like she's holding some information back. Because at the end, she's like, "Yeah, we knew he was dying, and like we're over it, and we prepared for this moment, you know." And I think if we actually saw her like talk about her grief and be open about her grief, like I feel like they were just waiting for that epic post-credit scene moment, you know.
But okay. I think I agree with you on that, but I think when like they first talked, because T'Challa got snapped when Infinity War happened. So like for Nakia, it's like losing T'Challa twice, and that's I think
3
like
times.
is even more hurtful to her than anyone else, because like she's not only a friend to T'Challa, she's also his lover, you know, and losing him twice, I think, is especially traumatic
3
for
times. Remember when he died? Well, he seemed
dies
like he
in Black
died
Panther.
in the fight during the fight in Black Panther. Like he's thrown off the
Oh
cliff.
right, that
They
happened
think
too.
he dies.
Yeah.
So she's lost in her mind 3 times.
Wow.
That's what I was saying at the beginning. Yeah, Aidan?
I was going to say I think that I think it would have been really interesting if because they're trying to explore the theme of grief, right? But I think that they're kind of one note about it. Like they're just kind of talking about like anger, like they're focusing on like Shuri's anger and like this vengeful streak she develops. And I think that showing like a differentiation between how Nakia and Shuri handled it, I think would have been really interesting. And I agree that they kind of
that would
they
be
kind of
really
don't
cool.
show that, like that would have helped really explore that theme more.
Yeah, thank you. Okay.
But they don't.
Yeah, it's like I couldn't say a single thing that happens to Nakia after she rescues Shuri from Talokan.
She was helping Shuri with the heart-shaped herb, and like she was sort of like the one that knows about Wakandan tradition, that's questioning her, sort of pushing her like onto this journey. Because like no one would have asked her, who did you see in the astral plane, if like she wasn't there.
She's just kind of like hanging around.
I think she's there to help the audience to explore Shuri's character more, you know.
But I think they could have done a better job of that. I agree that that's like the function they're trying to have with her, but I don't think it works super well.
Yeah,
sure.
Let's talk about our favorite, Namor, and let's hear from Adrian, who's been a little quiet. Adrian's been a little shy this podcast, so we're going to hear from Adrian. What do you?
It's because I've been writing down all my points about Namor.
Oh, okay. He's just loading all of his chips on this one. Let's hear it.
Okay. I think.
Yeah. Okay.
No. I think.
No.
My favorite, for sure. Like I said so before, my favorite character in the movie was Namor, and here's why he was my favorite character. And this is not even because I think he's cool, which he's fucking amazing, but I think this is the very first time that Latino and Black culture is properly represented in a movie. Black people had the first Black Panther. Now we get the sense of proper representation in the second movie with Latin culture. We got. I did some research yesterday preparing for this moment. We had some things about there was Mayan culture involved in it. There was also Aztec culture involved in it. There was some Inca. There was some other types of Amazonian, is that the word? Amazonian?
Mesoamerican or no?
No,
something like that.
Mesoamerica is a term too that I got. Yeah. I was super excited. I'm not gonna lie to you guys. I fucking like shed a tear because I was just like, man, this is proper representation. And like I can't speak for all of Latin culture, but like I felt very satisfied in how the representation went. Like there was when in the underwater scenes they were playing that ball game, which is kind of like
you said that was great.
Yeah. They were playing. I think it's called Telachki. They were playing it, and I was like, "Yo, that's sick." and then they were speaking like a proper Mayan language, which I'm not too
Yeah,
sure.
it says they're speaking Yucatec Maya, right? Like
That's the word. There is just like so many things that helped me fall in love with that character just because I'm Latino, right? And I also appreciated, to add to Namor's storyline, is that they were talking about like when he was a kid and then the Spanish came in and started fucking enslaving everybody, started taking over the land, and Namor killed them all. Like, obviously it's a fictional movie, but if that shit happened in real life, that would be dope. And I really appreciated that. So like, I get the point of like Peter being like, "Yo, man, like this character could have been a lot better." But from my point of view, this character was everything that I ever dreamed of, because that was the first time that I can look at a character and be like, "Wow, I feel like that's me on the screen." You know, wow, that could be me. I can't compare myself to Superman or Batman. I'm not white, right? But I can compare myself to Namor, because he's part of that Latin culture, and I absolutely loved it, and that's why I fell in love with the character, and that's what brought the movie to a whole different meaning. And after I left the theater, I was like, I really hope that not just the Latin community, but just the Black community, the white community, they all notice
The
that
Asian community.
the Asian community, love my Asian people. But they all noticed the representation that has been portrayed. It was so well done, and I loved it. Like, if anybody wants to like talk about it, like, I fucking loved it.
Well, it's a great backstory. Yeah, for sure.
That was half ironic. Yeah.
The backstory is awesome. Like, his character, like, there's one shot in the trailer that I'm really sad they didn't include, where it's just like it's his back turned to the camera as the like plantation house is set on fire, and it's not in the movie, and it makes me so upset, because it's like a beautiful shot. Like, it's so good.
Not in the movie?
And no, it's not in the movie. It wasn't. I was waiting for it. I was waiting. Okay. There are shots that are like it, but
I know you.
Yeah, they show the front of him.
Because that shot alone just tells you like everything. It's so good. Like, this kid standing silhouetted by this fire, and like, I think that, like, and that's one of the things that, like, you can really get behind what he's saying and thinking as well. Like, I think that it makes perfect sense the way he acts, other than, like, we talked about, like, a bit of like the rushed conflict, but other than that, like, as a character, I think like it makes so much sense. I think it's so good. I think like and then when they're fighting in the third act, I think it makes it so like you're generally empathetic to both sides, and you don't want them to be fighting. But yeah, I thought he was great too.
Sorry, we're messing with Aidan. Yeah, no, that backstory was so good, and probably one of my favorite parts of the movie.
Yeah.
I think it's just like it's some of the best shot stuff in the movie. Like, the film language is very well done there. I really liked how the El Niño Sin Amor thing.
Yeah, El Niño Sin Amor.
It means the boy without love.
Yeah.
Like, that's what the priest calls him, and that's how he gets his name. That's fucking badass.
Awesome.
Yeah, I mean, badass as fuck.
Oh, it's also cool that he's called Kukulkan, which is like a real figure.
Yeah, Kukulkan.
Yeah,
the feather serpent guy. Yeah. So yeah, I mean, I think Namor was one of the most interesting characters in this movie, which is. Is that you, Aidan, again? Stop stirring your tea. It sounds like bongo.
Dude, I was like, what the fuck is that?
Just playing some bongos back here.
It was like, is someone playing the soundtrack for this movie?
Aidan was the guy that was playing the soundtrack.
Yeah. With the tea. Yeah, no, I think it's kind of weird that in a movie it's weird that the villain is one of the most interesting characters in the movie. So it's not great in that respect. Just the fact that like I was more interested in the villain or the anti-hero than
I think that's fine if we know the main characters already, though.
Yeah. Okay. I don't know. I'm happy that I was very interested in Namor though, and Yeah, I mean, what else can I say?
There's a couple things I want to add.
I know. I do want to hold off as a second part of this conversation for the motivation. So I want to talk about everything before that. Um, I think the first shot of Namor in the rain, when it's like a really low angle shot of him hovering in the sky and it's dark and the thunder crashes and you see his silhouette, I was like,
Yeah.
oh yeah,
Yeah, dude.
that was the
That
money
was a
shot.
fucking sick
it was
shot.
it was so good, and I think Tenoch Huerta is so good as
Oh, yeah.
Namor.
Oh, yeah,
I
100%.
like perfect casting. He's equal parts menacing and incredibly sexy. Like I mean,
Whoa, whoa.
Namor
Oh, yeah.
Namor in the
Bro,
comics is like
those legs, dude. Dude.
legs. Okay.
Okay.
He's got big manly legs, dude.
Dude, I don't know what you're talking about, but those ankles with those.
Dude.
No,
Alex
I'm
has
saying, he's got ripped ass quads, dude. I just respect it.
okay, sure. I mean, you can tell with the tiny shorts he's wearing.
Moving on.
I did want to. Fuck. Oh, in the comics, Namor is like famously a womanizer, and he's Mr. Steal Your Girl, right? Like
Dude, he was totally
always,
flirting with Shuri.
yes, and he's always trying to get with Invisible Woman, like the Fantastic Four and
Sue Storm?
yeah, Sue Storm, and I think some other characters. Like that's
No
a big part
way.
of his character. Is he's a
Wait,
really
did he do
flirtatious
it?
guy. Did he?
Oh wait, she's married.
I don't- Anyways, we're gonna move on from that. You had some comments, Talocan. I mean, Adrian. You're gonna change your name on this platform. It says Talocan as your name, and it's confusing me.
It's great. Going back.
Going back.
I'm gonna pick Peter's brain on this one.
Mm-mm.
Peter, you've been awfully quiet when this conversation about Namor started.
He hates Namor.
Please, no, actually, like, let's talk about it. What's up with that? What's up with that? What's up?
I've said everything I want to say about the character. I thought
I think
his political part was very interesting. The fact that, he's actually considering things from a nation's leader perspective. But the fact that he went from, like, mostly, like, sort of having this battle mentally going to physical, like declaring war on Wakanda, I thought that was a little too quick, and I did not buy that. And the fact
I don't
that
think that's a problem with the character, though. I think it's the plot development.
Yeah.
Sure, plot. But then, like, you switch back into his, like, more thoughtful political side at the end, which I liked. So, like, it was really the middle part that's missing for me.
I think a lot of people have issues with his motivations and how it changes. So at the start, it's very sensible, right? Like I want to protect my people. Here's this threat, the scientist who knows how to find us, and we don't want that to happen, so we need to stop that. Maybe it's a little extreme to have her killed. I forget if that was a necessity part of the plan, but and then at some point he reveals that he wants to just burn the entire world. I don't know if that was literal or maybe more figurative.
Dude, it was literal, man.
But it sounded literal. Like
Yeah.
it sounded like he actually wanted to burn the entire surface world.
Like,
and
dude,
if Wakanda,
it was so
You mean like
Give me a
use
second.
fire?
Yeah, he said he was going to burn it with fire. I mean, that's what burn means. And,
Oh, I don't take that
and
literally. I don't take
and
it
he was
literally.
gonna he was gonna attack Wakanda first if they didn't side with him. And it was that shift that I think a lot of people have problems with. And also I think it harkens back to the worst parts of Killmonger, in that both of them are like relatively like sympathetic characters where you're like, yeah, I understand where they're coming from. And then they're like, okay, but what if we colonized or destroyed the entire world? And you're like, oh, why did you do that? So I think that's the issue people have. The other thing I want to say, and I think this factors into it, is I think I was trying to like figure out what the themes of this movie are, and I was trying to think like, it's obviously about grief, and I could never figure out how Namor plays into that because he's not grieving anything really. And it occurred to me that he's actually like just a great reflection of who the Black Panther is as an entire character, and not just as through grief. So, obviously they're both protectors and leaders of their respective nations. But also, I think this plays into the motivations, is that both Namor and Shuri are dealing with rage, right? So Shuri is feeling rage because of grief, and Namor is feeling rage, I guess, also because of grief, because of like how his people were treated because of colonialism. And so I think the theme that's being portrayed here is this balance, finding balance between rage and what's best for your people, and trying to be a good leader, trying to find that like harmony between the role you have and your feelings, right? So I think I don't actually mind it as much, considering that maybe it's a little rushed, the fact that he just wants to burn the world, but I think that's what Peter was commenting on, Adrian.
Yeah, I think it's that, and also like the way they built sort of his motivation up was so well done. Like you first see like a faithful retelling of his backstory, him sitting with Shuri, just talking about like his past, and then he invited Shuri to a tour of Talokan, which was so beautiful. Like you see the people, they're all friendly, see just them living their life, and like you're like, like surely you don't want like outside world to discover this and destroy this beautiful little thing that we have here. But then he escalated so quickly. It's like, I heard you in the river that night. You want to burn the world down. Let's do it together. I'm just like, bro, fuck, you ruined it. Like, it was so beautiful. Like, it was just like, we just want to protect this world. Like, if it's just about protection, I think everyone would get behind that. But like he turned from like defensive to offensive so quickly, and the aggression just fucking spiked up. And I'm just like, bro, you were that close.
I do think it is important to note, though. I agree it can be handled better, but I think it's important to note they are on a ticking clock. They are not going to be hidden forever. There's no shot. Like the way, and that's a major part of the movie. People are looking for vibranium. Yeah, they've tracked down the scientists. They're not going to be able to stop it forever. And I think he realizes that. And I think his goal is to be proactive. Is it maybe a little extreme instead of just being like a more methodical, targeted approach to that? Yeah, I think so. But I don't take that literally. Like I don't think he wants to burn the world, the countries down. But I also agree that I think it would have been, they could have done something more interesting. Like he had a different idea of how he's going to handle it. But I think it makes a lot of sense that he'd choose to be proactive and not just protect and defend, because you're not going to be able to do that forever.
You know, it'd be really cool though
if
we see like the military might of Talokan. We really just see him from like a foot soldier, them versus the Dora Milaje perspective. But like if we see Wakanda's air power, we see them infantries, we see their technology. We know Wakanda is not a nation to be like
Peter. I think that's all they have. Like, I don't think Talokan.
Oh, right, because they didn't accept technology. Right.
You see their military might. It's a lot of whales.
And, a lot of whales and water bombs.
And water bombs.
And water balloons.
Yeah, Adrian, do you have a counterpoint?
Sorry, to what? To what counterpoint? To what? Sorry.
To defend Namor, because we were just commenting on it.
No, we're not shitting on him. We're just saying that, like, we can't get behind most of his motive, but like that little part would a problem.
I think Alex said it beforehand. Again, you got to look at it from like just not the part of like, we're gonna burn the world and all stuff. Like, he has every reason to burn the world. He has every reason to be angry because, he was getting colonized. And he had been oppressed to the Atlantic because, like, the Spanish were after their people, right? And he realized that the surface world was like, yo, we can't be here because the surface world fucking hates us. So that's why we're going to retreat and we're going to hide away. And for him to say, like, we're going to burn the world, it's been fucking centuries. Of course he wants to burn the world. That's the last thing he remembers within the movie. And that's why he still holds on to that feeling, And Oh shit! I lost my point. Hold on. Yeah, he lost. He has that same feeling. So like him, like saying all this shit, like I 100% agree because it's anger, and it adds in when he shows Shuri Telecon, you can see that being like, yo, he actually needs to protect us. Like you as a viewer, you're like, fuck, he needs to protect us, and then that kind of gives you the hints. Like I can get why he's angry. I can get why he wants to fucking burn the world down because he's protecting what they try to take from him when like the Spanish conquistadors came in.
Yeah.
So I understand Namor.
You know what would be really cool? If we see Namor more than just like a leader, we see him more on a personal level. I think that would be really cool. We sort of see part of that when he was talking to Shuri, but then
Yeah.
like if we
do.
But here's the thing. That's you know what I agree with you. But here's where it actually hits that part right there. We all have a mother. Everybody has a mother. So when he started talking about his mother, it got personal as fuck. And then when he gave Shuri the little the bracelet, that became super personal. So right then and there, that's a connection right there. And just by him just showing and telling the story to Shuri about his mother, that's already way personal than him going out of his way to show her Telecon and then showing her around and like telling her all this shit, like, and then them actually having a discussion before any shit goes down. That's personal. Like that's the way I see it.
Dude, if there's more of that, that would be great. Because I think.
Oh no,
like,
I 100. Here's
I
the
think
thing
it was
though.
good.
I 100% agree with that because like again like. Excuse me, it was my favorite character in the movie, so I would have loved to see more of it. Because like I'm not gonna lie, halfway through the movie, I was like, we haven't really we don't really know much about Namor as we should. And then that's when they started coming in with like all the history of it, and that's when I was like, oh okay, like this shit is personal.
Yeah.
Like we understand the villain now.
That's because Riri and
Right.
Agent Ross and Val, like all those other
Yeah, they
things are-
cock blocked the
Yeah.
story. I'm sorry.
dude,
Taking
if
away.
we see
Yeah.
Namor with sort of like his friends, his people, him interacting with them a little more, that would be
We
lovely.
do see
That would
like,
be
the-
cool, actually. I
Because
agree
the
with that.
scene at the end, it was sort of doing that, but I like to see a lot more than that.
Yeah, like I thought it was really cool when he's this descending to the throne and he's like telling the people that it's like, yo, we're going to fucking war. Like that shit was dope. I was like, yo, we're going to war.
Dude.
I was rooting for the villain this movie. I'm not gonna lie.
How'd you guys rate the war cry though? Are you guys more of a Wakanda Forever type of guy or Rise Telecon type of guy?
Oh, Telecon 100%.
No comment.
No, that's the thing though. Like when they start like I got one part I got goosebumps at going into the whole war cry is when they were like on the boat or whatever, and then Shuri started doing the Wakandan like war cry, and it just reminded me of like Chadwick Boseman in Infinity War. Like when they're going in there, and like half of the Avengers are there, and they're all like screaming and shit. And I was just like, "Damn, this shit's dope." Yeah, but and all jokes aside, I have no comment on that one because I like both sides. But
Cool. Okay, that was a good discussion on Namor. Was another character we've got so much left to talk about. Ramonda, I think Angela Bassett put in like maybe the best performance of the movie. Like she's phenomenal. You talked about it, Peter, like her speech to Okoye, her speech at the UN, lots of speeches, but like every speech is really well done. Peter, stop touching your mic. God, are you new?
damn
to
it, Peter.
podcasts?
No, I'm saying.
God damn it. The one thing that did she have to die? Like, it's kind of silly that in a movie where it's all about grieving the loss of one character, you have to then grieve the loss of another character.
I really like that.
I like that she died too. I thought it was a really surprising twist too. I wasn't expecting that at all.
Yeah,
totally. Yeah,
it's like if you're dealing with one more,
I think it's
it,
what pushed Shuri over the edge.
Yeah.
Because like
I mean,
100%.
it literally is that like it's that moment in the screenplay. You know what I mean? Like where someone dies and it propels you into the third act.
The mentor dies.
Right. But like. I thought it was great. I thought that was really, really cool. I think it added more pressure onto Shuri I think that that last fight wouldn't have felt the same because it's like now there was also a personal.
That's true.
Like
Yeah.
Namora killed her, so like that's and so it's way more personal. And Shuri overcoming her vengeful streak.
to
is
forgive
more
that.
powerful
Yeah, exactly.
as a result.
Yeah, and I wanna talk about the speech just a little bit. Like I love that line. I think it's in the trailers as well. Like I am the ruler, the queen of the most powerful nation in the world, and my whole family is dead. This is when like Shuri was taken and presumed
Yeah.
dead by the royal people, and it's just something so personal about that, where you have like, a country with such vast resources, you can cure impossible disease, you can build technological marvels, you have technology like years, centuries beyond everywhere else on earth, but yet your family is gone. And there's something that's like the contrast between the power, the might of Wakanda versus this power and might of this small family, and like these two things side by side, comparing them, it's just something so powerful about that line. I loved it.
I think what you mean is that even with all this power, there's great responsibility. No, I'm kidding. Even with great power, there's still things out of your control, and I think that's
and
I think that's
family,
interesting.
like
And
dude, if Fast and Furious can pull any of this shit, bro, like they would be over the moon right now. Like Don Toretto talking about family versus that. Oh my god.
No, but like back on like Ramonda dying, like I I understand the ways that it benefits the screenplay. Like I think you're right that it makes Shuri more vengeful, but like this is a movie about Chadwick Boseman passing away. And I feel like that's just another thing in the long list of things that is taking away from that and making like takes away from making this like a movie that kind of like honors his legacy. It's like, okay, we're grieving him and this character, and then another character dies, and like I can only repeat myself so many times. Like it's a distraction, and I get that it makes Shuri the leader, and now she's the one who has to make the decision. So like there's reasons why they did it, and I don't know what it looks like if like the story looks like if you don't do it, but I'm not a huge fan of the fact that they did it because I think Shuri grieving her brother should have been the focus of this movie. And it like look at the end of the movie, right? At the very end, she's grieving her brother, not her mom.
No.
She doesn't shut the fuck up. Let me finish. She has to put the thing on the fire, and that's for her brother, not for her mom. She has to get over the grief.
Oh really? I thought that's the funeral ground for her mom.
God. No.
Oh
the
my
whole
god.
movie is her trying to push grief out of her mind, and that turns to rage, and then she has to accept that she has to feel these things, and then you add that she has to grieve for her mother too, and I think it's too much.
But that's different though.
I think that if you don't have the other distractions in it, then it's not a problem. I think that's not. I think it's just it's a test for the character. I think it is completely in line with what it is, but I think this is just an agree to disagree type situation.
Alex, but it's different though, because Shuri personally failed T'Challa because she could not come up with the synthetic heart-shaped herb, but she did not personally fail her mother per se. So I think like the death is more personal to her. T'Challa's death is more personal to her than Ramonda's death because she thought she could save him.
You're fighting over which family member's death was more impactful to a character, and I feel like this is really just, it's. Anyways, Adrian, do you have any thoughts about it? You're leaning
close. Yes, I do.
You're hitting the microphone, so I have. Yeah.
Yes, I do.
Let's hear.
Like, I think it was Aidan that said it. I think that it needed to be done because, we're mourning the life of Chadwick Boseman and his character in this movie, but we're setting up. Not we, because I didn't write the fucking movie. The movie's setting up the next Black Panther, like the next heir to the throne, and like you kind of have to like in a way do something so you can keep the franchise going, keep the characters going too. And this, I'm gonna try to compare because this is what I just thought about. This is kind of like Spider-Man's origin story at the end of the last movie, No Way Home or whatever it's called. Sorry.
Yeah.
How like everything that he has is dead. It disappeared, and now he's starting from zero, and that's his actual origin story. I think this is what they're doing with Shuri by obviously Chadwick Boseman not being in the movie for obvious reasons, but for Shuri's mom and her dad to be gone is setting up her storyline and her what's the word, her, I guess, her strength to become the best Black Panther that she can be. And I think that helps with the overall motive in her character.
I think you're right. And like functionally, it serves as, you know, like you said, Uncle Ben dying or Aunt May dying, or, you know, even in the first Black Panther movie, it happens before the movie starts, but T'Chaka, you know, has to die so that Black Panther can be king. And like I totally agree with you, but that's just like that's the corporate franchise outlook of it, you know, like and
That's not
those are
true.
the things. Yes, that's like
Aidan, that's not fucking true.
literally what Adrian said was like you have to continue the franchise. And
Oh,
if this
sure.
was and if this was just a movie that was like trying to create something that honors the loss of like their friend, like I think anything that is like trying to continue the franchise and is about like a corporate thing, like this is it's gross. It feels
But
gross.
I don't
And
think that her dying is it's just to continue the franchise. I think it straight up makes sense in the story. It helps build on the theme as well.
Because like I
I
said,
don't
like it helps because she's the new Black Panther now. It helps set up her storyline.
Well, it's not like Angela Bassett was going to be the new Black Panther. Shuri was going to be the new one anyways.
Right.
I just
Dude,
wonder
but
if
like,
there was a way that it could have just been because this movie is
Sure.
supposed to be about grief about T'Challa. And anytime the movie strays away from that, I'm going to be critical of that because that's what the movie sets up at the beginning. And when it becomes about other things, like it's not the
I don't
most
think it
egregious
becomes
thing in
about
this
something
movie.
yeah,
else when it
no,
happens.
dude.
But
Then what you're
well,
looking for,
like I'm just saying the same thing. So
dude, what you're looking for is a tribute to Chadwick Boseman, not Wakanda Forever. Like this movie, partly it's a tribute to Chadwick's time as Black Panther, as much as sort of passing on the torch to the next Black Panther.
We'll agree to disagree. We've said our points.
Yeah.
Then we bring back Killmonger. In that,
It's fine. Yeah,
and
no biggie.
I have to
Oh,
say
I
that
like that a lot.
Yeah.
I like the idea that he's there. I think I'm kind of with Peter that like I found the scene itself a little underwhelming. But like the idea that Shuri is becoming like Killmonger is super fascinating to me.
Oh yeah, I love that.
And
I love that part.
And that she
It was
sees
dope.
him. Yeah.
and I also like the fact that and this is from like a video analysis I watched, but when Killmonger sees the ancestral plane, he only sees where his dad died because like he's kind of stuck there and he
Yeah.
can't like look he can't see the bigger picture. And Shuri is the exact same thing. Her
Yeah.
ancestral plane is stuck where her mom died and she can't see the bigger picture. She can't go where T'Challa had gone in the plane place.
Yeah, it's her focus on like vengeance and her rage that's like preventing her from grieving and connecting to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I thought that was really cool. Yeah.
I thought it was cool.
And I mean, I don't think Coogler can make a movie without Michael B. Jordan. He literally has not made a movie without him even once. Every single movie has him.
He's
He
a
did the
dope fucking
smallest
actor,
role.
bro.
He did the
He's
Creed
fantastic.
movies,
Yeah,
right?
it's just funny. Smaller character. There was a new character introduced. Michaela Cole plays Aneka in this movie. I think. Let me just double check that actually. What do you know who I'm talking about?
Yeah,
what you're
it's
talking
the girl with the knives.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't really get
She's-
why she was there, to be honest. Doesn't really do
Exactly.
much. And I was just like, what was the point of this?
What was the point? I think it's a little bit of Marvel's first lesbian character kind of thing.
Yeah.
Like maybe they wanted to, and like, hey, that's good. I like that, but also just like in a movie that's so overstuffed with ideas, here's another one. Here's another new character, and like the original Black Panther has a huge cast of important characters, so we're dealing with those characters who are still around, and then we have to add more, and it's a lot. I thought she was like an interesting character.
Yeah.
She seemed like she had like a character, like she had personality traits, which not every character can say that, but yeah, it is great. That's about as much as I can say for that guy. Then there's a boat fight, and
Are we gonna talk about Winston Duke?
I'll get there eventually.
Okay.
I've put him later. You have the discussion points, so you could also see that for yourself. There's a big fight on a boat. Aidan mentioned earlier, like there's a really nice shot that's overhead, but I think a lot of the boat fight just becomes kind of like, okay, now we're gonna do a big fight, and it's very similar to the end of Black Panther 1. I think it's better.
I actually really like the boat fight. I think because the conflict between Talokan and Wakanda is so interesting, and you aren't fully on either of their sides, I think that makes it really interesting, because you just want the fight to end. You don't want either of them to win. You just want it to end, like, because like you empathize with both of them. I thought it was really cool. I think it's shot really well. I think it's a really cool action sequence. I think it's really nice. There are definitely shots where I was like, oh, this is fucking sick. Yeah, and then I liked. Well, there's the other part too. I was gonna get into Shuri versus Namor, but that's another point.
I think it's better shot than the first Black Panther big battle, but when it becomes like just a bunch of people fighting on the surface of a ship or it's almost like a submarine. Like there's no identifiable features on the top. Like it's literally just a deck, and you've got the volume midday sky behind them. Like it lost me there, and I was like, this doesn't look all that good. Like it's gray ship, kind of almost a little unsaturated pale blue sky behind them, and I was like, I don't love this part. Up to this part, like when they have to dive off the side of the ship and they're holding the ropes, that's sick, right? The overhead shots in the water, that's cool. There's some other stuff like earlier in the battle, but like as it goes on, and I mean, also there's the whole bit with Ironheart that I hate.
Well, I agree. That's the worst part of the fight for sure, 100%. But as a whole sequence with like everything that's leading up to that, I actually think it's really cool.
I don't know. That's just how I feel. Like I got a little bit like I didn't love the look of the fight, and yeah, that's my thoughts.
Dude,
Peter has something to say.
And the location of the scene is just, I think, straight off fantastic. Like I think
I just completely disagree with you. So when you say that, it makes me laugh. Sorry,
okay.
Continue.
Well, like if we look at Mission Impossible, John Wick, like these movies, they built on action scenes. Like their entire thing is about finding different locations to make these action scenes interesting. And I think them fighting on top of a submarine while the Talokan warriors trying to climb up from the side just creates a really visually interesting scene. Versus, like you guys have mentioned, just fighting on a plane in Black Panther 1, for example. And like the whole feeling of this encroaching danger rising up from the depths and just slowly climbing up and getting closer and closer to the what are these warriors called? The Dora Milaje warriors. And I think it's just a very, like, both in terms of tension and in terms of fight choreograph, very well done. Like I don't have a problem with that scene.
I thought Adrian it was cool too.
Yeah. Adrian,
okay, yeah, Adrian, go.
You're leaning forward. Do you have something to say? Boat fight.
I fucking liked it, bro. Like I liked it too. No, I liked it too. Like I really did. I fucking liked it. If you guys don't like it, well, fuck you.
I think it's just Alex.
Fuck you, Alex.
We'll pay Alex a visit later.
I do agree. I don't know who said the point, but I do agree that it's because fuck. The armor for Ironheart pisses me off. It looks like a shitty anime fucking like I don't like it. But like it was still cool to see it because when I saw it I was like, oh, that's sick. But then when I really saw it, I'm like, man, But I like the boat scene. It was very well made. I like the action sequence. Everything was cool. there was one little shot that I really liked, which I can't remember. I can't remember what it was, but it was fucking sick.
I bet it was. Yeah. Aidan?
Yeah, I was just gonna say, like, one of my problems was, like, I feel like I get that they're rushed, but maybe come up with a better plan. Like, I understand, like, we're gonna
why
go
would you bring
fight we're gonna
submarine
go
to a
fight
water?
the water.
Yeah.
We're gonna go fight the water people in the middle of the ocean.
Yeah,
Like,
that's what I mean about like location. I think the fight
Yeah.
scene, the issue I have is just location. It's
Yeah.
the middle of the ocean.
And there's nothing around. Yeah, sure.
There's nothing
Yeah.
visually interesting about the ocean.
Yeah.
Just like, let me fucking finish. There's nothing visually
well, if you
interesting
really
about the
think
ocean,
about it, no.
or the sky, or the boat. Like think about, we're talking about how much we love the production design.
That's
and then
true.
here's
The
this
boat could have been
boring
cooler.
ass
Yeah.
gray boat that
No,
looks
actually,
like
I'm
nothing.
100% with you there. Yeah.
Thank you.
Actually.
Okay, thank you. Like
No, I'm
you
with
have
you
this
there.
this
Yeah.
like, it's supposed to be all about the culture, and like even the ships have like these interesting like
Yeah.
flares to them. Like there's, I don't know what to call it, but like there's like these little, I'm using my fingers to like poking
feathery-
things
I
on
know
the
what
edge
you're
of
talking
it.
about.
It looks like a mask almost, right?
Mhm.
And there's nothing identifiable about the boat.
So-
It's just a gray
So
mask.
your
Yeah, you're right.
problem is
Yeah.
the Wakandan submarine doesn't look Wakandan enough.
There's just
That's
there's
one
no
way to
there's
put
no
it,
interesting
sure.
like production design behind it.
Sure.
I actually do
Yeah.
agree with that point a lot. While I still like the sequence a lot, I agree with that point. That could have been a lot.
Sure.
I think,
Yeah, but
I think
you can
in
have
every
that
other way,
You can
I
have
don't
that
mind the
same.
sequence, yeah.
See, but you can have that same argument with the fucking the flying shits that they have, the jet ski.
Helicarrier?
Sure,
The
whatever
jet
that.
skis?
I don't know why I said.
No,
I was thinking of fucking Mobius. Remember how?
Mobius?
Isn't it
You
called
lost me.
Mobius? The guy
Which
that wants
one?
to. No, not Morbius. The
Dr.
fucking
Michael
guy
Morbius?
from Loki that wants to ride a jet ski.
Oh yeah, that is
okay.
Morbius.
What was he riding in though? What are you
Yeah, I
talking
don't
about?
remember what you're talking about.
What? Guys, I was trying to. I don't even want to
Is there
explain the joke.
Is there
right
a
now.
boat fight in Loki?
No.
But no,
Okay.
I agree with that point.
Should we just move on?
Yeah.
Yes, move on, please. You guys
I'll
didn't
save
catch on to the
I'll
fucking
save-
joke, and I don't want to repeat myself.
I'll save you. Okay, so
Fuck
as we're
you
wrapping
guys.
up, Shuri versus Namor fight, super sick.
Fucking
Lots of
dope,
like
yeah.
throughout the
Yeah.
movie, there's a lot of slow motion, which with Black Adam also uses it a lot. But like people were like saying that was like Zack Snyder, and I didn't like it in Black Adam, but the slow motion I think was used effectively in this movie.
Well, yes, that Zack Snyder doesn't use slow motion effectively, so that
Yeah, yeah, yeah. There you go.
so that makes sense.
Yeah, and I think Ryan Coogler wanted to fix what didn't work about Black Panther 1, and almost the most universal complaint was how boring the climactic fight was, and I think he completely fixes it here. This is the most interesting fight in the entire movie. It's very intense camera work. Like every hit feels like super forceful, and it's very creatively filmed. Like Namor zooming around and like, I don't know, like I really like that.
It
fight
also
scene.
it's really intense. Like when
Yeah.
when Shuri got stabbed, I know maybe this is just dumb brain, but like I was like, oh
Brain.
fuck. I was
I
actually
thought
and there
she's
were
dead, bro.
there were
I thought she was
audible
dead.
gasps in the theater. I was like, holy shit. And when she cuts off one of the wings, I was like, oh my god. Like
Right.
Oh my god!
Ooh.
Yeah.
When she cuts off the wing, I touch my wing because I
I
have
was like,
wings now.
I'm like scrunched up my face in the theater. I was like,
Yeah.
holy shit. And when she sets him on fire, I was like, oh my god, she just fucking killed him.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I legitimately believe that she just fucking murdered him right there.
Because she
It was
said
like,
Wakanda
wow.
Forever. No, I honestly thought that was a sacrifice too, because I thought she killed herself
Yeah.
and Namor. No, not
Yeah.
Namor. Fucking Namor. And I was like, oh shit! But then they both alive.
It's the classic thing. It's escalation, right? And stakes, right? And
Yeah.
the other fight doesn't really have that when it's impersonal and like these two CGI things grappling. Peter, do you have something to say? You look like you do, but maybe not.
No.
No, that's just his resting face. The fight.
Why'd you say it like that?
The fight ends with Shuri holding the spear to Namor's throat. And okay, first of show of hands, has anyone seen the movie Come and See?
No, I don't. I was looking at the
Dang
notes.
it.
I was literally gonna ask you, like, I don't know, what is Come and See homage?
Okay. So Come and See is a fantastic movie, one of the best movies I've ever seen. It's a Russian movie from the 80s. It's like probably the only actually anti-war movie that exists.
Hmm.
Actually, I wouldn't even say that. It's still like kind of like arousing. Anyways, that doesn't matter. The movie ends. This isn't really a spoiler, but there's a scene in the movie where the boy who has become a soldier is holding a gun to a painting of Hitler. Like it says like Hitler the Liberator or something, and he starts firing the gun at the picture of Hitler, and it starts going like he starts thinking, and like we see what he's thinking about, and it's footage of like Nazi parades or whatever, and it's going back in time. Everything's played in reverse order, and it goes from like the present to the past, and then you see baby Hitler eventually. Like that's how far it goes, and
I
then
thought you were gonna say Baby Yoda.
no. And so he keeps firing the gun at the poster, and then he sees the baby and he hesitates because he's a kid, right? And they do that. They do the exact same scene with Shuri and Nomar. And I laughed. I actually laughed, and I felt bad, but like I laughed in the theater when I realized that that's what they were doing. Because it's just like it's such a great moment, but like also they completely ripped it off from that movie. And like it literally goes to Namor as a boy again. Like it does the same thing. But I mean, it's a good moment. I think it's
a great moment. I really like that they did it without dialogue. I think that's a lot more powerful.
Yeah,
I like that moment a
lot. Yeah. So then the movie ends. Basically, we get King M'Baku. So let's talk about M'Baku. The reason I put him here is because literally, like, he does almost nothing for the whole movie. Yeah. He's kind of like an advisorial role for a bit, but like as far as the plot goes, he doesn't. Yeah, he doesn't do too much. He gets punched by Neymar in a great. That was awesome when he gets.
Oh, that was good.
I thought he died
for a second there too. I was like, holy
shit. Yeah. So Peter, you wanted to talk about M'Baku though. So
Dude,
go ahead.
I love Winston Duke. Winston Duke,
he's great.
Fantastic actor.
Yeah.
But in this movie, a little too much. You know what I'm saying? I think.
I thought he was great. I thought he was so charismatic every time he was on screen.
I think he got to be toned down just a little bit. Like in some scenes
that are not, Peter?
I think in some scenes that are not meant to be funny, he was too funny. You know what I mean?
Oh, actually, I don't agree with you on that point, but something that I just remembered, I had a problem with the times this movie is trying to be funny. I didn't notice it with M'Baku too much, but there are times where this movie where they make a joke and it's like, no, don't do that.
Like
don't
in the fucking
and they're bad room. Jokes.
In the fucking throne room, it was like
Riri Williams.
It was like they call him Cuckoo Khan. Like you don't have to emphasize every word. Just say Cuckoo Khan. It's fine.
That wasn't funny though. That wasn't like
I thought it was hilarious.
That was not funny. What
that was
hilarious.
Be nice right now. Careful, buddy.
Alex, be careful, little guy.
Watch what you say on my podcast. No, I think I agree with Aidan, not Peter, on the fact that whenever the movie is trying to be funny, it's like, guys, we're trying to be serious here. It's like, it's like you're at a Remembrance Day ceremony and your friends keep laughing and you're like, guys, shut the fuck up, stop laughing. Like that's what this is.
Yeah. Can I please, like, I know that we're talking about the movie, but can I please tell a quick story about a Remembrance Day?
Okay,
because it's embedded in my fucking head.
Okay, sure. You get 2 minutes.
Okay, I only need like 1 minute. Okay, so I was back in grade. I was back in grade 1, or not grade 1. Sorry, I was back in grade 5, and you know when you have like a moment of silence for the troops or anything or something like that. It was like halfway done, and it was just dead silence in the gymnasium, and then all you hear from the other side of the room is just somebody farted so loud that everyone started laughing. And I remember like laughing, but I was like, oh shit, like I can't laugh. So I try to keep it in, but I couldn't hold myself. So it just reminded me of that. And yeah, that brings me to my next one.
Story.
That brings me to my next point, however.
Okay, yes. When Namor farted and the bubbles rised up because he's in the ocean.
It was a bubble bath. It was a bubble bath. No, I liked M'Baku and the scene where I think it was the very first scene that he came in, where he's holding a fucking pepperoni stick, and it just comes in eating.
No, it's a carrot.
Oh, was it a carrot?
Yeah,
he's a
That's
vegetarian.
even funnier.
Yeah,
That's even
He's
funnier.
like Aidan. He's a vegetarian.
Oh, I feel bad for him actually.
For being a vegetarian?
Yeah, bro, that's weird.
Who?
Yeah.
Oh, me?
Yeah.
Oh,
Are you okay?
Oh, yeah, it's
Guys, stay focused.
What the
fuck? Are you okay? Like,
do you have any other thoughts about M'Baku and
No. We're not talking about Black Panther anymore. We're talking about Aidan's well-being and why he's on a vegetarian.
It's too long. Let's talk about the fact that he's now the king. Probably. I like that.
That's right.
Yeah,
I think it's a good choice. He's been proven over the last couple movies that he's a great leader, very well thought out, like patient, kind of like always thinking. I don't know how to describe a leader.
No, I agree.
He's got all the good qualities, and we see Shuri, and she's impatient. She's impulsive. She's young. So I think it's good that he also not a big fan that Black Panther is such a proponent of the idea of monarchy. That's a kind of a complaint I have about Black Panther 1.
Okay, I would agree with you, but I have always just accepted this isn't a real world country. We aren't acting like this is a real
Wakanda's not real?
No, but you know what I mean? If Wakanda existed in real life, there would be so many they wouldn't be good probably just because of monarchies are bad and stuff like that. But I've always been able to just buy into the fact okay, this is fictional universe where these are the good guys and they're the infallible good guys. We're not completely infallible, but I've always just been able to buy into that.
I see what you mean, but I think that I think it's actually more interesting if they just acknowledge that, right?
Sure.
Yeah, maybe the monarchy isn't good. Maybe we should do something about that. Black Panther 3, and here they did that, right? Yeah. Someone else is going to be king for a bit. Yeah. Anyway, so that happens, and then they rescue Ross
from Friends. God, they rescue Ross from Friends, actually.
Yeah, I hate that. And then we get introduced to T'Challa Jr. Why'd they name him T'Challa?
It's the legacy, bro.
It's just give him a different name.
I actually have a lot of opinions about that.
It feels like how the big Marvel fans are like, oh, I recognize that, and that's where all the pleasure of watching Marvel movies derives from. Yeah, and just being like, oh, I know that guy. Yeah. Holy shit, it's Glove Shit Out. We need a Marvel.
Yeah, it's the Glove Shit Out of Star Wars. Yeah,
Marvel, but it's a little bit on the nose to name him T'Challa. Just give him a fucking different name. Who cares?
I thought he was gonna be named T'Chaka or something. I thought when he said, "Do you want to know what my real name is?" I thought it was gonna be something else, and I was like, "Okay, who's he gonna be?" But
Killmonger.
What if he was like, they're like, "Do you want to know what my real name is?" And she's like, "What?" It's and he's like, "Everett Ross."
My name is Val. No.
I have a point about that.
It's just the fact that also he's named when T'Challa is alive, I think. Unless it was during the snap. I don't know. It's weird. What's your point?
Yeah, what I actually want to say about that, because I thought that was what the fuck? Sorry, I just got a text message. I don't know where.
It's crazy. You got a text message?
Yeah, I have a fucking internet in my house.
Yeah.
What I thought was interesting, and what actually me and my brother talked about, that before the second Black Panther came out, there was that whole discussion on being like, what's actually going to happen to the Black Panther character as itself? Is it wrong to recast him? Is it wrong to move on and just acknowledge nothing happened or anything? And I think that by kind of how do I say this so it makes sense? I think by the way that it's being done right now, that they're putting Shuri as a Black Panther right now. So then when the kid, who's the T'Challa's son, gets to be Black Panther, that's them recasting it in a way so they don't lose like the Black Panther figure that they lost, if that kind of makes sense.
Yeah, I agree with you, and I know what you mean. I have heard a lot about that. The fact that, like, here's a positive black male character that's a superhero, and there's not very many of them, and so to lose that is a lot. I I hope that they keep with Shuri because
Oh yeah, no, me
on
too, 100%.
on the exact same point, like now you have maybe the first black female
No, yeah,
superhero.
yeah,
I
I
There's
agree
can't
there's
think
100%.
of.
There's Halle Berry's Catwoman.
Oh fuck! There's Halle Berry's Catwoman. You're
Yo,
right.
Halle Berry
Fair
is
enough.
so fine. I'm sorry.
But I will say that I don't think there was a lot of kids dressing up as Halle Berry's
Right.
Catwoman for Halloween.
Yeah, no, please
under
don't.
the age of 18.
Please don't. Please don't.
Please don't. So I think keep Shuri. Eventually maybe T'Challa grows up and you get a new one. But I like how they handled it.
Again, it also adds to like
Her suit also looks fucking sick. Sorry.
It
Oh
also
my fucking god! Is Peter asleep?
No.
Peter was fucking asleep during the fucking podcast. Okay, that means we have to wrap up. I guess that's a clue. I'm just gonna skip ahead of all the points because Peter was fucking asleep. So we don't need to finish the rest of that. That was the movie. I think it's so fucking funny. Guys, I need to reevaluate my life now. Oh fuck. Peter, do we have a segment?
That's Aidan's segment. That's not mine.
Aidan, do we have a fucking segment?
sorry, real quick. I love how Peter was just like, I wasn't asleep, and then he kind of made the faces like, "Fuck, they caught me."
I do want to really quick, and let's not discuss it. I like the last point of where does it rank in the MCU? Where does it rank in Phase 4?
Oh, you do want to? Okay, sure.
Let's
we
just
can
do it quick. We don't have to discuss it. I think this ranks high in the MCU for me. Adrian said that it was one of your favorites. I actually think this is one of my favorites too. I think this is really, really good installment. In terms of Phase 4, hands down the best one.
For sure.
Top 5 easily in the
Adrian,
MCU.
how do you feel? Peter, you don't get a say anymore. You were sleeping. Adrian, what's your thoughts?
My thoughts is that for sure, like Aidan said, it's very high rated up in the MCU. Alex, I remember we had a discussion about like you asked me, it's like, oh, what's your favorite MCU movie? And I said Endgame. This fucking tops it because like again, the whole character of Namor just brought it up for me because like I can identify with the character. So therefore, for me personally, is probably my favorite Marvel movie of all time.
Interesting.
That's
I've given
very fair.
a lot of thought. I initially ranked it very high, but as I became more critical, I ranked it a little bit lower. I think it's in the top. I think I have it at 11 right now, just under Black Panther 1, only because I think the fact that this film is so messy just drags it down for me. So I think Black Panther 1 being so concise and clear, I really appreciate that. I mean, rewatchability, I think I would maybe watch this one.
What other 9 movies are better than this for you in the MCU?
You want to play this game? I will play this game. First off, Guardians of the Galaxy 1. I love that movie so much. Okay. Guardians of the Galaxy 2 is my second favorite. Those two movies are some of the only ones that get
movies.
Fair enough.
Dude, they were both great. I loved them too.
They actually get emotion out of me. I think the production design.
I cried when Guardians 2 was out.
Yeah, Yondu. Yeah. I have Spider-Man: Homecoming is 3. I'm not certain about that. I really like that movie.
I like all the Spider-Man ones a lot.
Yeah, no, I like all the Spider-Man ones.
Not 3 though.
And Homecoming is my favorite of the
Homecoming
3,
is a great one, yeah.
Then I have Avengers: Endgame, Captain America:
Higher
Winter
than
Soldier.
Infinity War.
Yeah, I thought Infinity War is definitely better than Endgame.
I don't feel that way.
I don't feel that way.
I don't
Infinity War is probably my number 1 MCU.
Really? Okay.
Yeah.
Adrian, I'm with you there, bro. It was up there for sure.
I'm gonna have to go one by one for this. Captain America: Winter Soldier is number 5. It was higher, but now it's lower.
Sure.
It's good, but on a rewatch, not as good as I thought it was.
Yep.
Iron Man 1, number 6.
No, that one doesn't hold up as well as I think.
I agree.
I would have ranked it there, but like rewatching it, it's like, oh.
It's a product of its time, but I think it's a strong movie.
Sure.
Nonetheless, it doesn't get bogged down in what the MCU has become, just as being the first. I have Civil War next.
Sure.
Again, so many of these movies I had idealized as, seeing them the first time.
Mm-hmm.
Upon rewatches, none of them hold up really.
Yeah.
So, but I like what at least in the MCU, like I like what Civil War did. It was different. It was, it was very interesting to me. Then I have Infinity War. I'm still working on my rewatch, so I haven't made it quite there yet. I have Avengers 1 at number 9. That one definitely doesn't hold up, but it's iconic.
Sure.
And whatever. Black Panther's 10, then Wakanda Forever after.
Okay. Yeah, Wakanda Forever is definitely in my top 5 MCU. I couldn't tell you what else is in there right now, but yeah.
That's just, yeah.
Maybe it's just
Peter,
recency bias. We'll see.
Yeah, Peter, you are now permitted to have an opinion.
I already told my opinion. Top 5.
Okay.
I think Infinity Wars, Winter Soldier, Endgame, the 2 Guardians movie, Doctor Strange, they're all up there. These are like top picks.
Whatever.
The
I
first
won't get
one.
into it.
The first
Yeah,
one.
I know. Which
No,
is
I
worse
know.
than the second one.
Doctor
But
Strange.
whatever, we won't get into that. We won't get into. Sorry, I should have said that. I should have said that.
Doctor
I take
Strange.
back.
Doctor Strange 1 I have at number 12. And I know it's not a great movie, but
sucks.
I love the character.
I fucking hate the character.
Get the fuck out of here.
No. When he starts doing Marvel comedy, I was like, kill me now. Like, this is so bad. When he's trying to be
Iron
funny.
Man, but less charismatic.
Nah, bro.
In some ways, yes, but I disagree with you. Anyways,
Okay.
you're right. We don't need to get into this.
Yeah, let's
Peter, this is what happens when you stay up until 4 a.m.
I was not. Okay.
Let me check the fucking receipts.
I slept at 8 yesterday.
I went to bed at 3, so
I slept at 8 p.m. yesterday.
I get a text this morning at 2:48 my time, which is 3:48 your time.
Just think about that. I slept at 8. That
Just
was
think
7
about
hours
that,
of sleep.
yeah.
Okay, fellas, so we're called Predator versus Movies, and we've done the movie part. It's time to talk about that Predator. This is the segment where we determine, would the Predator from the movie Predator make this movie better or worse? Where would he fit into the movie? Any thoughts?
Can I go?
Yeah, you can go.
As the guest, I 100% think that the Predator could have totally fit into this movie. Just because fucking Ironheart was in the movie.
Yeah, there's so much going on
in this fucking movie.
You
just
so much going on in this movie.
Ironheart with the Predator, and I feel like it would have been a little bit better.
Yo, can Predator swim?
I don't see why not.
I think that's up to our imagination.
Okay,
Yeah.
I think he will be great in that underwater scene where they were scavenging the metal detector, the vibranium detector, and it was all dark. He would be great in that.
Sure.
Whatever.
I would have loved if he was in the movie and he killed Val. That would have been great.
Oh, you take Val now?
Maybe Ross too. Take him with you. I mean, like, yeah, just get them out of the way. Yeah.
Yep.
Any other thoughts, or
That's
can we move
Predator
on?
versus fucking movies.
I like how the intro for the segment is longer than the segment itself.
Lovely.
Peter, do we have another segment?
Yes, we have a segment, unfortunately named Predators Picks, where we talk about our
You
Rex.
will be grateful for the name of that segment.
all right.
I'll have none of it.
Where we talk about our Rex and anti-Rex of the stuff we watched in the past week.
So, Adrian can start as our guest. What have you been watching, listening, reading?
It can be music, right?
Yep.
That's listening. Yep. Anything.
Hold on. I actually have it right here because I was ready. I actually been listening to the new West Side Gun album, which he's part of Griselda. It came out. Crazy ass rhymes. I also discovered a new artist that I really enjoy, which it might be a she. She's called. I'm looking for it. She's called. Oh, the band actually. Sorry, the band is called Men I Trust. And
I've heard of that.
Yeah. I don't know. It's just like a good vibe. It's like kind of like pop indie. It's a good vibe. And I feel like this type of music that they make would be like a music that you would put in like coming to age film. You know?
Oh yeah, I had friends who were really into them. Yeah.
Yeah, I just found out about them and I was like, where have you been all my life?
Cool. Yeah. Anything else?
Actually,
he's grabbing something.
Not too long ago. Yes.
Yep.
Hold on. Calm down. Not too long ago. I'm sure one of you guys has for sure seen it because you guys are fucking film nerds. But Calvin from our class, shout out to Calvin, that's my boy. Let me borrow me this movie called, in French, it's called La Haine.
I haven't seen it yet. I
Dude,
know
I haven't
about
seen
it.
it either, but I
Oh
want to
my
see
god,
it.
dude! When I tell you that I think that Goodfellas is my favorite movie of all time, this is like fighting to be at the top with Goodfellas because
It's
it's
the
really
Criterion
good.
Collection version. I see the little C on there.
Well,
Little gray
shout out
C.
to the boy Calvin. He gave me this movie. I watched it as soon as I got it because I got so excited about it. Dude, it was such a good movie. The plot, the whole message, the cinematography in this movie, impeccable, untouchable.
This
It was
movie has been
fucking beautiful.
So this has been topping my watch list for a long time, and I just haven't seen it. But yeah,
I need to see it too. Yeah.
Yeah, dude, please watch it. Such a good movie.
Is that all of your Predators picks?
Yes.
Awesome, thank you. We can hear from fucking Peter. Peter can go next.
So, as usual, the weekly Andor rec continues.
sure,
Last episode was probably the best in the series. Honestly, I liked it.
Cheering. I was actually cheering in my room as like my dad came in. He was like, "What the fuck are you doing?" And I was like, "This is so exciting."
It was so fucking good. Like I texted Alex right away after watching that one. I texted him, "Endor has no right to be this good." Like it's the tension, the actual I think Alex told me very early on in Andor's run that Andor sort of doing this 3-episode burst thing where the 2 episodes before like the huge climax sets up the event of the climax. So you see like the raid. Sorry, not
it's
the raid.
It's like Clone Wars.
Maybe
like,
I'm not seeing
like
Clone Wars.
Yeah.
So like
well, actually, it's basically just the season is basically 4 episodes that are then cut into 3 parts.
Yeah. I agree.
They end so abruptly sometimes. Yeah. It's like, oh, it's over.
Yeah.
Because that was a part of an episode, not the whole thing. Sorry, continue.
Yeah, but like the fact that you see like in Star Wars, we root for the rebels because they're the good guys, lightsabers, like all of that. But like in this one, you root for the rebels, you root for Cassian because of their beliefs, because of their treatment. Like you actually empathize with them, and I really appreciate like what this show makes you feel. And I think this show enriches the Star Wars universe as a whole, which is fantastic.
Probably the best Star Wars thing ever.
Honestly, better than Mandalorian, dare I say. I think it might be better.
Easily.
Yeah.
Easily.
Because like Mandalorian is really just like Doctor Who style. You skip around exploring places, but this has a really strong theme and central message, and the cast, just the acting, man. Andy Serkis, just fantastic. The guy is so great in this one, and he was not in any promotional material at all. Like I didn't know the guy's in the show until
it was a surprise.
Yeah.
But we rewatched Black Panther to see Andy Serkis.
Yes,
his claws very good.
Yeah. I also watched this small indie British flick called Banshees of Inisherin.
It's not British. It's Irish.
Well,
kill you for saying that.
Martin McDowell.
Is it Northern Ireland or Ireland Republic? Oh, but it's set.
It's Irish. It's Irish because and I love the film. I think it's hilarious. They expose you to the Irish culture, and also I think like there's not really like a huge central message in there. Like if you like look at the movie sort of like and you're trying to draw before I went into the movie, Alex told me about the Irish Civil War and Revolution, so I caught up on the history thinking it's about the 2 friends being on 2 sides of sort of like the war, but it's actually not. It's really just 2 friends feuding. And like the whole perspective on legacy, like it proposed, is very interesting. And Martin McDowell has not missed yet for me. I loved In Bruges, I loved 3 Billboards, and this movie has continued the streak. The guy's great. Check it out. I think it's a hilarious movie. Probably one of the funniest movies I've seen all year.
Is that it for your Predators picks?
Yeah, it's definitely a wreck for me.
Okay, great. So I'm gonna go next. I'm gonna go next. For the you'll see why. So I watched Andor, and the only other thing I watched this week was a small little indie film It's an Irish film. It's called The Banshees of Inisherin, and I really didn't care for it. So you can get two vastly different opinions on this. Now, I will preface, this is not a popular opinion. I know that I'm very often a contrarian, but like I really didn't care for this. I've seen maybe all of Martin McDonagh's movies. I don't know if there are other ones, but like I've seen In Bruges, I've seen Seven Psychopaths, I've seen Three Billboards. Of the comedy ones, because this is supposed to be a comedy, I've never found the comedy works for me. Same goes here. I was in not a packed theater. There was only two other like groups there. I think 5 people in total, and like it was pretty dead silent for a while, like maybe the first 30-40 minutes. Not a great sign for a comedy film. There was, I will say, a handful of times, 2 or 3, where like I was laughing out loud, lolling, as the youth say.
Yeah,
and so like it's not never funny. Sometimes it worked for me, but like I just cannot understand his brand of comedy or why people find it funny. I didn't like the cinematography. I think Inisherin and Ireland are very pretty, but I don't think the cinematography was doing anything spectacular. I think the story is a weird mix of absurdity and realism, and it feels like it would have been a fine, interesting short film, like maybe 30 minutes, 40 minutes, and then it just drags on and on and on, and it's super repetitive, and like it's the same beat of like, my friend isn't talking to me anymore. Why aren't you talking to me? Because I have better things to do with my life, and that's it. Like it doesn't go anywhere from there. It's a thinly veiled metaphor for the Irish Civil War, which was what Peter mentioned, which is 100 years ago now. And I think this is a movie that thinks it's smarter than it is. And you know what? Most people aren't going to agree with me on that one. Aidan and I have a mutual friend who says it's a fantastic movie. And this isn't just Peter. And he said it was an instant 5-star for him.
Who's that? Oh, I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know if we need to hide his name, but okay.
Fair enough. It's Ryan.
Yeah.
That was funny.
Yeah,
it was. Dude, funny. My whole theater was laughing, and it was pretty packed too.
I was in a quiet theater.
Yeah, I was gonna say, Alex, like you did literally set up. There were very few people in my theater, and no one was laughing. Like those two things go hand in hand. I haven't seen the movie, but those two things go hand in hand a little bit.
I get it, but like if I was watching a funny movie, I would laugh.
Yeah, but you do. But many people like don't.
No. Okay, think about this. I watched Bros in an empty theater, and I was laughing constantly.
That's different. Were you were the only one there?
Only one.
That's different. No, that's easier to laugh than if there's like 5 people. But okay, whatever.
So if there's no people, easy laughter. If there's a lot of people, easy laughter, and then it dips in the middle.
Yes, yes, exactly. Because you don't want to be the only person. If you're in a theater, you don't want to be laughing out loud when no one else is. But if no one else is there, it doesn't matter.
Okay, that might have explained the other people, but like I actually was just like, I'm waiting for something funny to happen. Like it's not funny to me. Maybe the other people. And you know what? I heard someone sobbing behind me at a particular scene later in the movie, and I was like, okay, sure. Like if it works for you, good. But like I found it not that interesting. It's like the whole moral of the story is be nice. And I'm like,
no, I don't agree.
Well, that's just what I took away from it.
I have a question for you, though.
Opinions.
You think it's related to the Irish Revolution somehow? The Civil War somehow? But like, I don't think it's related at all. Like, it got.
What are you talking about?
It got name dropped a couple times, but that's about it.
Yeah, because it's dude. The Irish Civil War is this setting. Like, it's happening across the bay, and they mention it 5 times because that's what the metaphor is. Because Martin McDonagh doesn't know subtlety. He has to shove it in your face and be like, have characters literally.
Why though?
The Civil War is happening.
How does that impact the movie?
It's 2 people who are fighting, and they were friends. Civil War.
I don't think so. I think it's more personal than
I think
that.
the fact.
I think it's more about personal legacy than that metaphor.
I'm about to veto this conversation.
Yeah. We can take it elsewhere, but I don't agree with that. I don't think.
I think the fact that you don't see a strong connection between the Civil War also just speaks to how uninteresting the theme is and how it's not.
Because I picked up on something different, but we can talk about this later.
I know it's about being nice versus
all right.
Like
Aidan, what are your recs? What are your recs, Aidan?
I don't have shit, to be honest with you. I watched like a little bit of a new show, and I don't really have a strong opinion of it either way. It's called The Peripheral. I watched like
it's a Chloe Grace Moretz show, right?
Yeah, it's fine. Nothing.
Westworld died for this, bro.
Nothing crazy going on there. I haven't really listened to new music. No, I don't really have anything. I don't really have anything, to be honest with
you. It was a nothing week, yeah.
Yeah.
So we're done with that. Next week, it really, we were talking about this before the pod, it really depends on what's available in our area. Some options could be The Fabelmans, The Menu, Bones and All. Probably one of those three. Really, again, depends on what comes to town.
If Bones and All is in town, that's the one I want to do out of those three.
I think I agree. I know one of our recurring guests, Sasha, really wants to do The Menu, so we might try and squeeze that in.
He wants to do The Menu?
He wants to do The Menu.
Wow.
Okay. And I've heard great things about The Fabelmans. So like there's just a lot of great options and maybe even Decision to Leave, but I think that one's going to get pushed to the wayside if I'm being honest. Peter, do we have anything to plug?
Yes, we have our social media accounts, which are now under one name. Predator V Movies. You can find us on Instagram and Twitter. Drop us a follow. Leave us a comment or a rating on Spotify. Please be good. And Alex, do you have anything to plug?
Yeah, follow me on Letterboxd at _AlexGordon_. I leave reviews.
Dude, the guy's popular now. He has likes and comments on his reviews.
I do.
Letterboxd clout.
Also follow me on Letterboxd. I am 810 Sunny. That's 810 SONNY. My name is Wombo.
You considered changing either one of those things to something a little less mysterious and hard to spell?
Yeah, I would definitely change it's staying as Wombo for sure, but I might change the actual handle.
Yeah, I don't have a problem with Wombo.
Yeah, but anyway, I don't leave in-depth reviews, but I just have like little things to say about movies. Sometimes I say my thoughts if I'm really feeling like it.
He tries to be quippy. He's a quippy
I'm a quippy little guy.
He'd fit well in the Marvel universe. Aidan is actually co-starring in the next Marvel universe project, whatever that may be. Anyone else have anything to rec? Probably not, it seems. So, guys, that's the show. It took a little longer than we wanted it to because we keep forgetting our mantra to keep it brief. So until next time, I'm Alex.
I'm Peter.
I'm Aidan.
Guest.
Thank you, Adrian.
Oh, shit. That's me. Peace out, guys. Thank you for having me on this podcast.
Thank you for showing up. It was nice to talk to you. And this was Predator V Movies, and this is the show.
Bye.